Um,
The comments. You made them. We came.
They're just YouTube comments.
Oh no. They are a means to summon us.
Who are you?
Reporters in the further regions of experience. Demons to some, angels to others. Oh no, tears, please.
Clickbait, do damage on me, go flash this a Snapchat, cause I didn't
This is Baron Sadist with Tico Tren and Baron Yam, aka the Internal Sadist.
hello, guys. Can you hear
What's
me?
good? Yeah, I can hear you. Today's topics are going to be Corvette syndrome / disease and serving as strength. This should be some funny shit.
Yeah. It is gonna be funny. And if you like the content on this channel, then leave a like and share and subscribe to the videos. Get the Discord, get our Discord information, Unpublished Home. It's a good place to stream, or a good place where you can watch a lot of different channels in one place, kind of like all catered, of course, to Tico's taste. But Tico has good taste, so
Whatever, smart ass. Smart ass motherfucker right here.
but yeah, and consider making a donation. More to come with that. But yeah, let's get right into it. So the Corvette syndrome, I think, would be a good place to start.
All right.
Corvette syndrome is the belief that one can have a child as a male. So it's often associated with men who get pregnant, men who believe they can get pregnant, and or have kids. And traversable philosophy was the first person to bring this up to my attention in the manosphere and in discussions like MGTOW discussions. And you have a lot of people who I think who still say, and this is where I guess my split from the English speaking manosphere happens, because I've always kind of considered monk the only way to go if you are a MGTOW, and so it's kind of why I changed to red pill, even though you basically I basically see a place in red pill where you can pretty much still be MGTOW, but then you just you understand female nature, or you're trying to learn more, and so the whole Corvette syndrome definitely was something that I thought was relevant to bring up now. Because a lot of the new MGTOW people, they still think you can have kids and stuff and still take or still claim the title of MGTOW, which I have a lot of issues with, because in order to have kids and have kids properly, you have to basically get married, and you have to basically be able to spend a decent amount of time raising the kids, and depending on your level of awareness and your skill set, you probably at this point in time are either working to sustain yourself and or whatever debts or bills you have to take care of. And so having kids and stuff like that is basically, it's putting you in a position where you can't lead yourself to the best of your ability because you're having to focus your time on something else without a balance. And then also you're putting yourself into this dangerous system, which is going to inevitably, chew you up and spit you out, no matter what you do right. Because like nowadays, women can just accuse you of anything, and it doesn't matter if you're the good guy, you'll pretty much be punished for it.
The other flip side to Corvette syndrome is also as well Corvette, which you actually said was Corvette's disease, but Corvette syndrome, the flip side to that is also men who always try to overcompensate for something, or always try to overcompensate for not having something or being very short, coming up short in a certain area. Basically, typically they'll say the small PP, the small penis, basically, smallest penis energy and shit like that. So they'll go out and buy a Corvette, or they'll go out and do something, or if they believe that they're unattractive or something along the lines of that, or if they lack in personality or if their face is unattractive, things along the lines of that. So it's one of those things where like they're overcompensating for having a small penis, for being unattractive body wise, for lacking of personality and being unattractive in the face. So they're doing all this extra shit so they can overcompensate for the fact that they haven't quite worked on themselves, and they want to complain about it, but they want to instead of working on themselves, they'll go and go to the far extreme psychologically and go get like a flashy new car and flash some money and make expensive purchases and shit along the lines of that, for all intents and purposes, all because they're coming up short in a lot of these other areas. Let it be their penis, let it be their body, let it be their face, or let it be personality. They're basically coming up short.
And then like all those things, there really is nothing wrong with them, and it's getting your it's assessing your value based on women and other people's perception of you too, which is like, it's hard for somebody to wrap their head around, especially if they're just getting into the whole MGTOW thing, because you're literally doing everything just to suit yourself, and your own interests. And Corvette syndrome is kind of like, the reason why people believe they're ugly or believe they're inadequate is because of their people's ability to manipulate them, and it's due to the information that they let out, and how powerful that information is really something that people have to learn to cope with.
As far as the thing I've noticed about the Corvette's disease thing, when it comes to men having thinking they can have babies or shit along the lines of that, then you also have the another thing that actually falls into that category is what they were normally referred to as sympathy, weight gain, or sympathy if they're with somebody and they gain weight because their significant other's pregnant and they gain weight, or their significant other doesn't gain the weight but the husband gains the weight as well too. Or let's just say morning sickness is another good example of that. She's not having morning sickness, but he's having morning sickness for her. They typically refer to it as sympathy sickness, morning sickness, or sympathy weight gain, or sympathy pregnancy. So it's one of those things where a lot of men actually suffer from this as well when it comes to stuff like this too.
Wow, I did not know that. I knew that they gain weight.
Yeah, they even suffer. Some men even suffer from sympathy sickness. Like a good example of when women supposed to go through morning sickness and are not, there's a huge chance that their husband or their significant other, whoever the baby daddy is going through that morning sickness for them. As far as in weight gain, hell, there's even been times where men have actually had the crazy cravings when their significant other doesn't have the crazy cravings. Like, they say the crazy cravings, like, ice cream with tuna fish or something like that, or, something
Mhm.
off the wall crazy. The crazy cravings that they normally get for certain things or, specific things. Sometimes the
Mhm.
women don't get those cravings, and sometimes the men ends up with those cravings when they don't get them. Is another thing aspect of that as
I
well.
noticed. I noticed that people mimic the potential behaviors of others simply due to lack of self knowledge. Like when you don't know yourself, you're more likely to mimic somebody and or act in a predictive way to the way other people behave. It's kind of like your body's way of solving an unfinished equation. Like if you don't have the right tools to properly assess and self direct, then your body will basically just take its cues from the environment.
True.
Yeah, what I noticed is that when it comes to when it comes to especially the idea of children and fatherhood, men are more likely to say to. It's weird because they pretty much ignore the fact that they could be a victim of like a severe offense, like getting like destroyed or destroyed in family courts, or um, being accused or being attacked by other people who simply for being just like slightly different than the status quo. And like they're it's crazy because they all have to be like all men have to pretty much be the same in order for this system to work. Like the men can't, and that's like way harder for men to do than for women to do. Like it's much easier for women to all act the same, especially if they're under like one rule, you know. But if guys aren't allowed to branch out and be creative, then we will all become very, very upset because like our creativity is being taken away from us, and we can feel it on the subconscious level, even though we aren't actually aware of like our creativity because of all the indoctrination that's happening. Like we get told a lot. We get told from the moment we enter preschool that it's bad that we're creative, or it's bad that we can come up with things on our own and satisfy our own and work towards our own success and work towards our own goals.
Yeah, true.
Um, and then the overcompensation I think comes after like you realize you have kind of like a lack of value intrinsically or initially when you're starting out in life. So it's like you put all your eggs into the pleasing women basket, and then when you get burned at that, then you're like, because every gets burned at some point. No matter how old you are,
Shit,
no
I've
matter
never
how
been
red
burned.
pilled you are, you're gonna get
Never
burned.
been burned.
But and so that's like something that we cope with. Then that really makes it like difficult to overcome this idea of needing to or even just focus on ourselves, but overcoming the idea that we need to serve others. And which I mean basically it it leads us into the problems like going through everything that you have to go through, for example, when you're trying to make a living and be successful by yourself, when you're never seen with a woman, going in and out of the places that you frequent, and your friends or close family members may be thinking, oh, is he gay, or is he or what's wrong with him. You're not a nice person. So then we do the Corvette syndrome where we go above and beyond to to portray the straight male, to portray the socialite, the current, the kept up, the keeping up with the Joneses, the socially relevant male figure, which can pretty much be reduced down into like a feminized man, is what
Pretty much, yeah.
the most popular model for masculinity is in this day and age.
And the
and
sad part about that is
it's just how it is.
a lot of the women, despite the fact that they say they want this, they're unhappy with this finished product. And what you were saying about the whole entire thing in school, the overcompensation for boys going to school is typically you medicate them, and you medicate them a lot, basically, so they can conform to the society and the societal norms of the classroom. Because, like you said, being creative and being having energy is seen as wrong and bad. So now you have to take and shift your eggs from one basket or multiple baskets to the pleasing the female aspect of life, which really sucks because like that's one thing I'm actually lucky for never having to go through, for the fact that I didn't have to go to school here up until high school. And so I never really had to please anybody. So it was one of those things where it's like either I'm getting an education or I'm going to another school. Typically. So it's one of those things where it's like I've never had to suffer through that, so I've never been one to act on. I've never been one to capitulate and or bend to the will of a woman. I've always been the one. I always been the one making somebody else bend. So, like, don't get me wrong. I will yield for people, but typically I never yield. I don't really yield for women. I typically yield for somebody I respect or somebody that I have a
Yeah,
lot of respect for.
I mean, and it's not just towards women. I think it's more like a dispassionate attitude is frowned upon, which kind of gets into the aspect of the next of the other topic, which is going like men are often summoned to a place where they're just constantly berated, constantly yelled at, nagged, nitpicked, and gaslit,
Yeah,
because the medication doesn't make you. It doesn't turn you into a model citizen like they would make you think. It more or less just allows you to be a tool, for them to aim at other students who are more creative or whose creativity even exceeds the medication that they get put on, or or any sort of thing. Because there's a lot of, like, I know a lot of people who they take like the depression medications, the barbiturates, and then the other, or the what is it, Abilify, those kinds of things. Um, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to stave off that period of maturation that that boys go through, where they develop more confidence and the ability to speak calmly, whenever somebody's trying to, like, hold them or maintain a manipulative conversation with them.
yeah,
And so if they can keep you drugged for a certain amount of time, then they can still keep you, they can still isolate you from people who are going to think the way that you are starting to think, are coming into your masculinity. And they're going to use your creativity to sort of combat the real, or to sort of combat the masculinity that's that's popping up in places where they're all seeing eye can't really, that doesn't, like, it is like their blind spot. Because as much as you want to say that, like people who are in high positions, they have all the power, they're just as susceptible to real masculinity overtaking them as any other position of power, any other ruling class ever has throughout history. That's why, when we talk about the indoctrination that's happening now with, the modern day and social media, it pales in comparison to the stuff that's always been happening, like the kind of real sort of like female nature, and the way that it has always been throughout the centuries, how many wars started and things like that. And so, like, the attitude now is more like trying to get men to isolate and to adopt a mentality that's quite opposed towards real positive masculinity. Always, masculinity should be seen as being negative or or very harsh on its concept of the self, which is why I think, like, the ego now is even more important for a MGTOW to understand, because yeah, it's not good to be prideful, but you should be proud of certain things, especially if those things are contributing to your success as an individual. But yeah, go ahead, because I can. But yeah, anything about Corvettes before we go right into this funny one, this topic, serving is strength.
We're moving along kind of quick, but okay. Well, I guess we'll run right into that one because you said you wanted to drag this out. But okay, we'll run into that one next. But
Yeah.
I wanted to say about the Corvettes thing. This actually can tie into a lot of the stuff in the next topic as well. What like as far as like behavioral stuff and how things progress and basically how people act towards other people as well.
Mhm.
When it comes down to it, it's one of those things where like you have to consider or take into consideration your ability to cope and or your ability to cope and or your ability to adjust accordingly to modern day or society in general for all intents purposes. Um, so when it comes down to it, it's one of those things where you almost have to overcome or over you either have to overcome or under overcome or under what's the word I'm looking for? Shoot. You either have to overcome or
Understand?
understand or
Mm.
undervalue. I'm gonna use undervalue for right now because I can't remember the other word I was trying to say. You have to undervalue or no undercompensate. You basically have to undercompensate for certain things just so you can level out the overcompensation in other
That's
areas, or
just pervasive,
you have to just
which I agree with.
or you just have to just maintain what you
Hmm.
got going on and or improve upon it, basically, instead of
Hmm.
like you trying to overcompensate for it, just improve upon it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem that a lot of people have in society, especially in the Western worlds, because
Hmm.
everybody believes that they're a star when in fact they're really not a star. Or
Hmm.
everybody likes
And
to
the
believe that they
improving, yeah,
or
most of the
everybody
improving
likes
has
to
to
believe
happen when no one else is looking at all.
yeah, typically because like the sad part about that is if you're going to be improving your life, you do it for yourself. You don't
Mhm.
do it for everybody else. Because the sad part about that, what a lot of people run into while they're trying to do it for everybody else is they either run into a lot of brick walls or they run into a lot of problems emotionally trying to sort out like because they're trying to please everybody in the same process and they're trying to please a
Hmm.
certain person or trying to do it for a certain person and they're not really getting that love and admiration and attention from that exact person that they want, and so they try harder now. So the thing about that is now they're
Yeah.
trying harder, and now either injure themselves because they didn't try too hard to work to their goal, or B, they stress themselves out and they slowly like fizzle out basically and
Hmm.
disappear and just disappear into obscurity, which really sucks for them because the sad part about that, all you had to do was do it for yourself. It's typically what I say about my exercise routine. Typically, anywhere between spring to fall, I do powerlifting. Wintertime, I bust out the bodybuilding training, which is actually pretty funny because you see me go from one extreme to the other extreme, which is actually pretty funny. It doesn't really change that bad, but like the body type changes just a bit. But it's one of those things where it's like not. It looks like I'm going up and down in weight when in fact I'm actually staying the same based on what I'm doing or based on how I'm eating. So typically I do that on purpose. So because I've always been one of them guys. I don't want to have the beach body in the summertime. I want to have the bodybuilder body. I mean, the powerlifting body in the summertime. That way, people like could talk shit on me and do whatever they want until like I Hulk smash a BW Beetle on them and shit like that. But
Hmm.
so it's one of those things where it's like I want the strength. I just don't want to look strong. I actually want to be strong. So this is
Yeah,
typically why I fluctuate between my exercises like that.
Yeah, I mean it's really just about, what you want to enjoy. Like during the summer, it's really just about, enjoying the sun, being outside, being with friends,
Hmm.
doing things. And then whenever I train, I kind of just like to isolate. Like I like to, or like don't get me wrong, like when you're at the gym, somebody spotting you is great because then you don't have to, you can really kind of just like get like focus in on what you're doing.
Hmm.
However, it's like, yeah, I guess that guy, like I know this guy that works out at the one gym. He asked me to film him for like his Instagram thing, because he wanted to, post a video of fitness. And then like I saw him the other day, and he was like talking to me about his chicken and brock chicken diet or something, like only chicken. And I was just thinking about it because I'm like why tell me? Like I get it if you're trying to help people, but I don't think I think that's a choice. Like I think that when it comes to improving yourself and or maintaining, it's like you don't have a choice. Like people think that they can switch it on and off. Like, okay, I'm taking care of myself now, and then now I'm not going to take care of myself because something else is distracting me or something else is more important, and then they just push off protect or improving themselves or maintaining themselves at all.
Hmm.
And then they try to build themselves up for the public view, to because, like I said, they get pretty much, uh, they get either shamed or yelled at or smacked on the wrist or punished for being creative. So they'll go, um, that guy, SFM, I think his name's 2064. He was talking about how on Traversible's live stream, he was talking about how as soon as someone gets called gay, all of a sudden they're gonna post a video of them banging a girl just to prove that they
Yeah,
aren't gay. And it's like
true.
you see a lot of overcompensation nowadays, especially in the black pill, uh, which is sad because it's like that's something where, you're trying to you're what you said, undervalue or undercompensate like that. That is pretty much, I think, it's like a very viable option if you're going to
Well,
be
well,
if you're
well.
going to take the black pill at all.
With that community in particular, not only do they undervalue not only do they undervalue themselves or undercompensate for themselves, they actually overcompensate too. Because you'll hear them say stuff like, I've been banging a chick since this one or this, that, and the other. I was like, wait a minute. So I thought you were ugly and you couldn't get a girl. But now you're banging a chick all of a sudden out of nowhere, but you couldn't get a girl 5 seconds ago.
Uh-huh.
Like, so it's one of those things where they go back and forth with what they say, and it makes it so that it's like it doesn't really line up to what they're actually preaching and teaching. It's almost like a snake oil salesman.
Hmm.
Well, I'm ugly and I'm only this short and this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other, and I can't get girls and girls don't like me. Okay, so you're a lame and you can't get a girl now. Well, no, see, I'm banging girls. I'm banging bitches like two at a time, this, that, and the other. It's like, no, that sounds like something from my video. What do you mean you're banging bitches two
Yeah.
at a time? Or my favorite one is
Hmm.
typically a lot of them will overcompensate by stealing from other content creators to
Uh,
try to make their prop themselves up or make themselves sound smart. Typically, how it works is I've actually heard about somebody actually using my line and using my profession to try to overcompensate to try to sort of make themselves sound smarter than what they really were, which is actually very sad. And the sad part about that is they knew nothing about molecular genetics, which was actually really funny. And they basically got put in their place by somebody else who didn't know
well,
anything about molecular genetics, which is
listen
actually really
listening
funny.
to it, yeah, it makes me realize being in a place where I'm zooming out, looking at all the savages dancing around the fire, understanding that the title is just a title, and whether or not you use it as an anonymous person to signify your level of status. It's all about it's all about how the person who's saying the title is trying to signify that they have power, when really any knowledge should just be given or no, like knowledge is never like I don't think it's ever held for very long by certain people who place values on these titles and things like this, because it's merely used and discarded just to serve a means.
Or short
And
term
then
purpose.
what'd you say?
Sort of, or short term purpose.
And what I realized is like you also have a lot of like this reverse Corvette syndrome, where instead of men believing that they have the ability to um, give birth, I think they also assign women this ability to commit, or they assign women this ability um, to choose, to select like long-term partners in the same way that men kind of select for it. And they talk about game and things like that as though women are playing kind of like the same game that men play in terms of like picking a partner. And
Well, the sad part
like
about
like
that is
there's
sad part
yeah.
about that when it comes down to that portion of it, it's not the fact that it's not the fact that they're overcompensating. It's the fact that they're more so tapping into. It's basically like a cheat code to tap into various things. Basically, I talked
Mhm.
about this. I know people in the manosphere, people in MGTOW will say in a heartbeat, like, pickup artistry is bullshit. Well, no, it's not. If you actually use game properly, you can actually do a lot of things, like get out of a speeding ticket, get out of an actual court, get out of a court date, um, get out of doing shit in general, or get out of not getting fired at your damn job for doing something stupid. Typically, if you know game and if you know game 100%, it's more than just spitting game to women. It's more so being able to game life so you can actually better yourself or put yourself in a better position or make yourself more valuable than you need to be or than you really are, so you can actually be that valuable person that everybody comes to look to you for solace and or answers, basically, when it comes down to it. Because the sad part about that is game is just more than just spitting game to women. Game is being able to close deals or negotiate and or get out of stuff that you don't want to be in, or get out of trouble when you don't want to be in trouble. Basically, it's all about how you play the game. It's one of those things where you always talk about, well, I heard people say, well, the judge was a dick, this, that, and the other. Okay, so were you being a dick for the judge to be a dick to you? Or did the judge just happen to wake up on the wrong side of the bed when he tossed the book at you? And they'll always blame the judge. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, if we go and look at their behavior and how they handled themselves in front of the judge, they pissed the judge off enough for the judge to want to say, fuck it, throw the book at him. And the sad part about that, these people don't want to realize that what they're doing in a moment at the time when this is actually taking place, and they always want to blame other people, or because their game was off that day. It's typically how it works. So you want to be able to actually gain any. You actually want to be able to when you actually use game, you want to be able to use it in any court or any field or any place of battle, basically. Let it be courtroom, let it be speeding ticket on the side of the road, let it be your supervisor looking like she want to fire somebody, let it be you know um, getting women, let it be getting a job, let it be negotiating a deal, let it be negotiating a loan for a bank to actually make them have more faith in you to actually give you the loan. So all this stuff actually goes into actually having game at the end of the day. It's not just about hitting on women. This is typically the problem that I have with people that say, well, game ain't shit and game is fake. Okay, obviously you never, talked your way out of some tickets. Obviously you never talked your way out of a speeding ticket. Or
Oh
obviously you never
yeah,
talked out of getting charges.
it's like the whole yeah, it's like the whole election thing that we have now. It's like their opposition is this. It fluctuates from being this minuscule thing to when they want to be a victim. Then it's the whole world that's against them. And it's like with women, for example, they'll say that women shoot them choosing signals, but then when they don't get selected for, or when they're not able to justify that PUA talk with a actual sustained relationship, then it's women's fault, or it's Chad's fault, or it's somebody else's fault and not them.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
one of those things where I've always said that it's all fun and games to blame Chad, but when you realize that Chad's wife is being banged by somebody like Tico, you can't really blame Chad anymore. It is what it is. Because, like I said, I've actually banged Chad's wife multiple times. I've actually had, threesomes and foursomes with Chad's wives in the neighborhood. So it's one of those things where it's like, you can't be up here talking about, well, Chad gets all the girls when, well, Chad's having twosomes and threesomes with girls. Well, Tico's had twosomes and threesomes with girls, and Tico's not a Chad. Your point is. So it's one of those things where it's like, obviously you're doing something wrong. And to a certain extent, I do agree with what Mr. Hate Vicious said in his video last night about the whole entire the PUA video that he did last night. I do agree with him to a certain extent, but there's certain things that come into play between his version and that version, basically, because I typically am an asshole and I typically act like myself and I pretty much get girls too. However, if I need to use game, anytime I need to use game, I'm either teaching somebody how to use it or I'm trying to get my ass out of some trouble. That's typically how it works. So it's one of those things where, like, fast talk excuse, like kind of how they have it in, like, RPG games, a fast talk excuse, where you can fast talk your way out of trouble, basically. So it's one of those things where it's like, that's typically what I do. And it's one of those things where if I can bankroll it so I can get myself out of trouble, I won't even have to ever call my lawyer to actually help me get myself out of trouble. So it's one of those things where it's like, if I don't need my lawyer and I can do this myself, what is the point? Why am I paying her? So
Yeah,
it's all about how you use that bankroll, basically. Because I know friends that actually use it just to pick up women and to get better jobs or get raises or get get promotions. They use game, and it's one of those things where it's like you got to be able to learn the person you're talking to, play them, play the game that they're trying to play, learn them, play the game, and you want to get your actual raise or your interview, so you can outshine the rest. Basically, that way you leave a lasting impression on that person. Is the best way to do it. But typically nobody wants to do that, and they want to blame everybody else under the sun for their shortcomings. It's typically how it works a lot of the times.
Mm. But part of it, I think, is I guess just having like a shred of humanity, because like where you see people getting like really just villainous, they just think that they can control someone based on their level of knowledge, and they don't use any sort of formal methods of persuasion at all. They don't try to appeal to a person's humanity, so they basically look at everybody as robots. Or like they basically look at everybody as like these scientific automatons, structured thinkers, people. And it's like, at least when you're MGTOW and you're using game as an instruction and as an instructive tool to show other people, how to make some sort of like part of suffering of life, of manhood or of masculinity effortless, or to show that it is part of it is like to disclose to them that it is like that's life. I mean, like to use it in that way, and to know that not everybody is going to agree or think along the same lines as you. It shows that you're at least somewhat able to look at a situation and actually have some sort of like just like a shred, like a small glimmer of just goodness, of humanity left inside of you. And that's what I think is missing from a lot of the black pill community, because you can't say that knowledge is missing, because it's like a lot of them, they, even if, like I said, the title doesn't mean anything. Like if you want to lie and say that you're a doctor of disrespect, or a doctor of molecular genetics, or a doctor of, and live whatever kind of life you want to offline, that's totally fine by me. It doesn't matter, because it's just a title. Like I'm a baron, Tico, Tico is he's a train conductor.
I am not a
Nick.
train conductor.
So it's like that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is, I guess, like, if a person's been hurt and stuff, then they get into monologue mode. I think one of the things they can remember is just that, like, that's when they're at their weakest, is when they stop acknowledging the other person. And I guess it really just comes down to discipline too, because you have to be disciplined in order to maintain your humanity, even after all that there is to learn, all the information that's out there, and to maintain your information when you go out into the world, because information is the thing that people use in order to navigate hierarchies and make associations with people and stuff like that. So the less information you give to somebody, the less they can manipulate you with.
True.
And
Because
like,
at the end,
yeah,
at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's not the fact that you think you know everything. Because the sad part about that, when it comes down to that, I'm in the same camp as Ben Shapiro. Facts don't care about feelings. Um, and it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, everybody will sit up here and try to push a narrative. But the sad part about that is, at the end of the day, facts don't cease to exist. You just ignore them. That's all it really is at the end of the day. That's all you're really doing. Because
yeah,
you can't sit up here and say, well, this is fact. Well, that's not fact. Just because you think that's a fact, that don't mean the fact of the matter is that this fact still exists here. You haven't really debunked it. And the fact that you're trying to ignore it lets me know that you're scared of that fact. Or the fact that, you're trying to go about a certain behavior so you can get out of this conversation lets me know that you have no argumentative skills, or you have no comeback. Because, like, I come from the camp, if you tell me something or complain to me, I will give you solutions. If you don't take those solutions, I will strangle the shit out of you and tell you to go fuck yourself, basically. So that's typically how I feel when it comes to stuff like that. I will give you these solutions. If you don't accept these solutions, or you don't take these solutions, I'm either going to want to exact harm on you, or I'm going to want to, ignore you and never talk to you again. It's typically how it works. So it's
yeah,
one of those
yeah,
things where,
for sure.
if I give you solutions, either do them or acknowledge that I gave you solutions, and don't act like you have no solutions to your problem,
It
or
would it would be like,
you can't
yeah,
change your situation for all intents and purposes.
it would be like an ex doing you wrong, and then all of a sudden wanting you back. When it's like, as a guy, you're just like, okay, if you leave me, I'm not only gonna not want to get back together with you, I'm not even gonna want something from you, want any sort of thing from you, whether it be $1 million or, my firstborn child. It does not matter. If you get rid of me, then that's that. Like, it shouldn't be everything that I've even given to you or anything like that. That's like all water under the bridge. I'm not gonna try to, like, manipulate you back, or have you do that to me, just so that we can keep perpetuating the cycle. And you see a lot of the, like, these new MGTOW people. They have almost like this scorned woman attitude to it, where they discard people so quickly, but yet they're still trying to get more of that value out of out of a person, just by continuing to either, to, like I said, using their information to insult using their information, or trying to spin something they said. And there's the thing, like, no one can really make you feel bad about yourself if they're making lies or insulting you or calling you names or anything. They're just trying to get you to change your position.
We're
And
trying
so they
or they're trying to make you a weaker person so you can capitulate to them for all intents and purposes.
As long as you don't,
or what you're trying to do is get you to go run off and overcompensate for what they just said, basically. It's typically how it works. So if somebody's bashing you or talking shit on you, their goal is one of two things: either to get you to fold under pressure or bend the knee to them, or get you to overcompensate so they can laugh at your dumb ass. And the sad part about that, that's typically how a lot of these trolls actually operate. They operate on one or two ends of the spectrum or on both ends of the spectrum when it comes down to it. So it's all about reacting to them, or, them getting a rise out of you so you can make more videos about them. And it's basically a big ass back and forth. At the end of the day, it's typically how it works. And the sad part about that is a lot of people get caught up in this back and forth and don't really know how to get out of it. And it's one of those things where they get so deep into it, and it's like they have to go through some soul searching or some things, or take a break from YouTube to do so. Because I've always found it funny how I've been blessed to not really take a day or any time off from uploading a video. Or, I've been uploading videos since 2005, 6. I've been uploading videos on YouTube nonstop, which is actually really funny, and nonstop daily. I've been uploading videos on YouTube nonstop. So it's one of those things where it's like you take that into consideration, and you look at the time frame that I've been uploading a lot of videos till now. That's a lot of fucking videos.
I actually want to bring up something that you said earlier too, because like a lot of these with trolls, like a lot of them want to see someone just fall into obscurity. The secret about trolls too is that they wish all this bad stuff on a person, yet when that person keeps going, they can't help but continue to follow that person. Like that one guy, Coach Eli, like all the people that follow him, and just all they do is make fun of. All they do is try to like rag on him and pretty much just like try to bring. And they might be warranted in it, but the thing is like they're always telling him like to delete his channel. I don't know if they say like kill himself, but like they're always trying to tell him to do things. Obviously, they're trolling him. So,
well, the sad part about that though is like at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, you're basically if you're following somebody just so you can mess with them and harass them, you're basically no better than the person you're harassing. So if the person ain't shit, or if the person ain't that, basically you're not that and you ain't shit either. So it's kind of like what I say about women. It's kind of like what I say about women or men who get into fucked up relationships, or men who want to run around here calling women hoes. Okay, they might be hoes, but you still bang them hoes, which makes you a hoe. So your point is, the same thing goes for women. We're all men or dogs. Well, you slept with them. That kind of sort of makes you a dog too. So your point is, well, no, it's not different. Don't even open your mouth or twist your lips to say it's different, because I'll slap you right in it like you're one of my children. And that's typically how I talk to people. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. Not in Tico's house. So it's one of those things where I make you own up to shit like that. Because at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, if you're telling somebody they ain't shit and they ain't got a life, or they should delete their channel, at the same time, either you're projecting or you're just as pathetic as that person who is making the uploads. Because at the end of the day, you're following that person just to do it while still propping that person's channel up to get them more views while you're doing it. Like, think about that. Anytime you edit or meme somebody's video, you're doing nothing more than propping that person up. So at the end of the day, your trolling and memeing ain't really doing shit but making that person popular. Because at the end of the day, all this shit that you're doing to that person will make them a victim in somebody else's eyes.
The nastiness, it can always be, and it's information about how you feel. Like regardless of how it sounds.
It's not only information about how you feel. It's more so information about how you conduct yourself and who you are as a human being as well. So if you're gonna troll somebody and treat somebody like shit, that lets me know that you're pretty much ain't shit too, along with this person that you're treating like shit. And the sad part about that, at the end of the day, depending on how this person responds to you, 9 times out of 10, this person can come out better than you or more unscathed than you, and you look like shit, or this person can come out just as shitty as you for all intents and purposes. So it's one of those things where it's like a back and forth or a
But
give and
yeah,
take when it comes to things
in
like that.
most situations, it's just like, yeah, what people say creates the charge. Like most things are just in the wind. Most things are just neutral. Most things have no real meaning. But when things are spoken, like obviously they have their meaning is ascribed to them. So it's like, yeah, like you like what Tico said is right. If you're bashing somebody, you're setting their archetype, or you're setting an arc for them to either, succumb to it or rise above it. So
Yeah.
you're setting them up. And what I kind of like about MGTOW, even though I would consider myself like more red pilled or a monk, or because I think like the new MGTOW is just, if I mean, in the English speaking manosphere, with all the qualifiers you can say, to however I can best define it, it's not really, it doesn't live up to, like a very high standard. Like I would say that MGTOW needs to have very high standards, but the thing that I think it's a fatal flaw is just the nastiness, the trolling, the behavior, where it kind of, you could still see that people are energized towards like a certain, like when it comes to like women, like they still have this casual commitment to women. Like whenever they get shamed, like whenever they say, "Oh, you hate women," then MGTOW are always quick to say, "No, we love women. We love women. We respect women. We respect all women." And it's like, or it's just like they are always apologizing for how they think, and that's not having confidence in your, it's not conducting yourself in a way that's strengthening. It's basically putting you back into that mindset of, okay, I made a mistake in serving society, or in representing society. I have to account for how I think now, instead of just being, this is who I am. There's nothing wrong with who I am, to me. So how I feel, how you feel, is none of my concern. If you think that I hate women, then that's how you think. If you feel like I hate women, that's how you feel.
Mhm.
And that might be controversial to a lot of people, because in one sense you're in one sense it sounds like you're saying negative things about MGTOW, when really you're just saying, I don't trust MGTOW, I don't trust red pill, I don't trust blue pill, I don't trust anyone that isn't worth trusting at all, which is, you could say, about the majority of people. It doesn't matter about doesn't matter if they're in the manosphere or not. So I would just like encourage people to have a better, or like a more robust way of doing that, because regardless, any manosphere or red pill or anything, any person, any human being who sees weakness is going to try to isolate that person or that set of ideas, and going to prey upon that and troll that or manipulate it or whatever, because that's how our minds are geared. We're like predators.
Yeah.
We
You're
have a
gonna you're
predator
gonna go
instinct.
after the weakest thing that you're capable of taking without expending the most energy or assets to do so.
Mhm.
So when it comes down to it, you're going. That's exactly how you're going to think, and that's exactly because at the end of the day, human beings are animals. No matter if you like it or not. I don't care if you're a guy, woman, Apache helicopter, whatever the heck you want to call yourself, whatever term you want to refer to yourself. At the end of the day, you're a human being, and human beings are a part of the animal kingdom. At the end of the day, known as mammals. So it's one of those things where it's like you're still an animal. So at the end of the day, you're going to react to things or do things to actually always make yourself look good or prop yourself up. It's kind of like I always refer to it as the Floyd Mayweather effect, where you fight a bunch of ain't shit motherfuckers basically,
Yeah.
So you can keep because you're more worried about how you look versus actually how well you actually perform in a ring. Which is actually pretty funny because when you look at it, his dad actually fought some real motherfuckers, basically. Some real motherfuckers that'll put that little motherfucker on his ass. Whereas he picks and chooses who he wants to fight so he can actually look good the whole entire time. It's
Yeah.
basically almost like Roy Jones back in his heyday when Roy Jones was actually good and he used to sit there and dance and poke his chin out on motherfuckers, basically, so he can knock them the fuck out. Basically, that's Floyd Mayweather to the other end of the spectrum, basically. Only I don't think he could take that many shots like Roy Jones could take back in his heyday. So it's one of those things where like he basically props himself up for basically so he can look a certain way or be
But yeah.
portrayed a certain way when in fact his record really ain't shit.
Yeah.
And it really
like,
doesn't
as a
amount to shit.
boxer,
And if you look at
he
all the
is a
people that he and if you
good
look at all the
record.
people that he's
Yeah.
actually boxed, they were either on their way out the door or they weren't really boxers in the first damn place. And the sad part about that is he gets those wins no matter what, despite the fact that it is what it is. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, oh yeah, and Roy Jones too. Yeah, I mean, my favorite is the golden age of boxing, like Tommy Hearns. Um, uh, it's like because they didn't question. Nobody asked them if it was okay if this guy punched you. It's like a true boxer just they go into the ring in order to the weight class is the only qualifier. Who am I fighting? Okay, I'm gonna fight that person. But like in terms of like fighting now, you have two schools. You have the school that picks and chooses its battles and lives to fight another day, and then you have the one that just basically goes in guns blazing and punches flying and stuff like that. And like I think that like if you're a balanced fighter, you pretty much take from both of those in healthy amounts. But if you're if you talk a big game, but then yet you're gonna pick and choose who you want to fight, and you're not gonna fight people who are challenging. That's gonna people are gonna have questions about that. And if you're not fielding those questions, then people are gonna look at you as if you're trying to manipulate them. I mean, people who aren't stupid, they're gonna try to look at you as they're like, okay.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't matter how many people you have supporting you, because people who are trying to discern, they're gonna Occam's razor all of your support and all of your circumstantial evidence. And two, like one thing that I think is lacking, that I said before, is like, yeah, just this cordiality with the outside world when it comes to the inner turmoil that you feel inside and how you want to choose to express that. If you want to be a nice person, you shouldn't limit yourself from being that nice person. I mean, you don't have to go around kissing everybody's ass and then talking shit behind their back immediately after. But like I said, a decent balance would not hurt you. I've never heard somebody being like so balanced that it worked out negatively for them. But yeah, and like the thing that I love is just the cordiality and the dispassionateness that you have once you go your own way, because you can tell people, you can be upfront with any person, doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman. And then women, like when men or women try to manipulate you, you don't have to have like a PUA type answer, like, because that's what I see a lot too, is like people telling you exactly what to say whenever somebody says something to you. It's like, well, that's not how language works. That's not even how verbal communication works. Like, because the same thing said by multiple people is not going to it's like they try to give this blanket advice, right? And and that's just not helpful at all to anybody. And like at some point you're gonna say something that's not going to come out right, and then you're gonna be like, well, I didn't say it. This so and so told me to do it, or so and so I learned it from so and so, and that's like it's not taking any responsibility. But then like, yeah, I mean, like just the ability to say, to be upfront and nice or honest or pleasant or however you're feeling in the moment, and or just completely apathetic. It's just, then there shouldn't be anybody that's in your head when you're interacting with other people. It should just be you. It should just be consciousness. It should just be like self. So I mean, whether or not I think people are consciously aware of that, I think is another deal entirely. But I think that mainly like a huge chunk of people's brain, whether there be red pill, blue pill, or MGTOW, is concerned with serving somebody, like whether it be following like someone's philosophy online that you support, or following somebody's version of philosophy or their interpretation of it. And people really have an obsession with following somebody else's thoughts, and following through, or simply just parroting something that somebody else says in order to get by in life. And that's just, I mean, it's just like it gets towards the whole problem that we have in society, where we associate service with strength. And I'm a definitely, like, don't have room to talk, because I worked in like the service industry for a long time, since I was like, for past like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So yeah, for the past like almost 11 years going on, I've been working in some place where it's like you have to serve people, and you're propped up for that, So it's just like this whole serving a strength thing is something that they've like the longer, the earlier you get into the school system and the longer you stay in it, the more you start to believe in this idea of serving a strength, and it's serving is also something that isolates you too, makes it so that you're alone in how you handle a situation. So it's like, if someone's not satisfied, you take ownership and you take responsibility over that. So then you're putting more and more of yourself, and you're putting more and more of your being into, providing a service, or something like that. When really what you should be doing is like doing only what you're called to do and nothing more, because every bit of yourself that you give to somebody else is all stuff that can be used against you, and none of it can be used to actually fight for you at the end of the day. It's all being put into someone else. And so I think it relates into childbearing too, and the familiar relationship, because as much as people want to have this like dual minded nature, where they can like talk all this crap about women but then still have kids and have a family and whatever, and get married and do the whole system process and everything like that, it's like they're pretty much what would you say, over not they're over preoccupied. They're preoccupied with the humdrum of the day, like the whatever the honey-do list is, whatever sort of like formal list of things to do, chores, responsibilities, that they don't think about how else they could possibly be strengthening or maintaining themselves. And like you said, like when people get into families, they let themselves go physically. They stop reading, they stop exercising in a way that fits what they want to do. So like, or if they adversely, if they're living the bachelor lifestyle, they will spend all of they'll spend all the winter time like like conditioning or endurance training or running like 18 miles or something, and then like because they want to get the beach bod for the summer so that they can attract all the women. And it's just like a constant cycle of serving other people's interests.
Yeah, because it's technically what you're doing when you're not doing it for yourself. You're serving other people's interests.
Exactly.
And I always say, look, if it's not for yourself, fuck everybody else. Do it for yourself. It don't matter what the girl looks like. I don't give a damn how big her tits are. I don't give a damn what her ass looks like. I don't give a damn what her pussy might feel like. Do it for your fucking self. If you can't do it for yourself, you're going to fail in life. That's the cold reality. You're going to fail in life if you can't do it for yourself. And this is typically where a lot of people mess up and or fuck up at in life, because this is all they really do and this is all they really know is how to do it for a woman. When in fact you should be doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
It's like because the sad part about that, no matter how much you like it, you can't change you're never going to change how somebody feels about you. It's basically what I say about the whole entire you can't please everybody, so don't even fucking try. Is mainly that's basically the phrase I always coin. I don't give a damn who the person is. I don't give a damn if it's your significant other. I don't give a damn if it's your mother. I don't give a damn if it's your children. I don't give a damn if it's your pastor, your priest, the pope, the bishop, the rabbi. I don't give a damn who it is. If you're not going to please everybody, so don't even fucking try. Basically, is all I'm really saying. So at the end of the day, do it for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds weird to say, but it's like, yeah, you should be finding weakness in yourself before anyone else. Because like I said, people have a predator like mindset, but then all of a sudden they become really docile when it comes to their own self concept, or like their own, like people are very quick to, like you said, like prop themselves up and make themselves feel like a star when that's really overcompensating. But like when it comes to mundane things that they should have some sort of agency towards, they kind of just lapse, or they space out, or they kind of put it on the wayside, or they're preoccupied with something else that they think is more fulfilling. But like honestly, doing something for yourself is easily the most fulfilling thing you could be doing at any moment. Yeah,
and the sad part about that is you actually have something to show for it at the end of the day when you do it for yourself versus for somebody else. Like, so why even? So why even make it so you put yourself in that
what
line?
Seeker said, like to me, like my grandfather, I don't think I've ever heard my grandfather say like I love you or anything like that. He's very stoic, and he's very and it's not to say that there's people out there that will do the same thing and will be more angry or be more serious about what they believe, and sometimes it won't fit right, sometimes it won't hang right. But the way that my grandfather conducts himself, it makes sense. It's in line with like what he believes and stuff. He's always been kind of like an asshole, or like a bully, or a person who hasn't really been liked. But it's like the more you tell somebody that you love them like that, it's more or less because I realized that too, because they always tell my grandfather that, and he never really responds or says anything. He kind of just doesn't react to it. And like he shows a lot of moments of like there's of humanity left inside of him. He's not like a mindless person. So he has conviction about things, and when he does things, you can say that they're deliberate, even though he's had like a stroke and whatever. He's had a stroke and he's not at full physical capacity, but like emotionally, mentally, you can tell he's very deliberate with what he does. And that's because in this day and age, nobody is very deliberate or very convicted about any. Everybody's pretty much half foot in one thing, half foot out. Like they're always ready to jump out as soon as things get tough. And it goes to what you were saying about how people will fall into obscurity if they don't really have the right mindset going into something. And it's kind of like what I see when I hear guys brag to me about how they're getting hit on by women at their job or something. Like I said, like you were just saying, you can't do it for them. Because they're gonna like you or dislike you. It's either gonna fluctuate, it's gonna stay the same, or it's gonna always be good or bad. But you can't, you yourself don't have any control over that. Like the only thing you have control over is whether you like somebody or not. So if you're gonna label one gender or one race as just somebody you just flat out don't like at all, like you have to just understand where that comes from too. And if it came from you authentically, then that's fine. If you're like the most authentic racist or sexist in the world, that's awesome. That's great. But I have doubts about that kind of thing. Like I have doubts about people being authentically just hateful towards any group of people, unless you went through something like seriously traumatic, in which case, with nobody else telling you how to perceive the situation and you developed it all on your own, like it just doesn't register to me as something that's authentic a lot of the times. And I'll be friends with like authentically racist or sexist people, but whenever I hear somebody say like, oh, sexism is bad or is like a huge problem or racism is a huge problem, I also see that as a form of like projection too. Like a person saying that is more often likely to be racist or sexist themselves, and they're trying to overcompensate and trying to, I guess, like they're trying to somehow, like it's still this monologuing. Like that, like because there's times where I'm not even talking. I will just completely stop talking, and and people will still talk to me about something having to do with like race or women or it's just they have no they think that other people are as interested in the subject, yet they're the one they're trying to portray themselves as being unbiased, which is just like, it blows my mind. It honestly does.
It definitely will. It definitely will. And the sad part about that is when it comes down to it, you have to understand or realize what is going on around you to actually make it work for yourself for all intents and purposes. Sorry about that. I was yawning.
Yeah, you're good.
But
no, dude, I'm still going strong after working overnight. Like I'm still.
Well, no, I was yawning. I was just yawning. It was just a natural reaction, basically, to something. Because I watched the baby yawn, so I yawn. Like,
oh, by the way, you can respond to what I was saying or whatever, but it probably, yeah, like I know a guy that I work with. He works part-time because he has kids, and I never realized like me, I'm young. I don't have kids or anything, so it's like totally normal for me to to like work full time and stuff because I don't have anything else to do. But it's like if you have kids, it's like how people aren't able to just like spend time with their family. Like he literally, like what you were saying in one of these live streams, like he set his job up to work with his life and not the other way around.
Basically, yeah, that's basically how it works. I won't take a job if it
Don't get me
affects
wrong,
my life.
it's not perfect. Like there's still things like with this COVID stuff. It's like there's still registration.
Well, no, because the bad part about that is like you basically set your job up. You basically set your job up to fit your life. You don't work your life around your job, because this is typically where a lot of Americans get themselves into trouble. They work their lives around their job. And the sad part about that is the strongest person on the workforce or the most successful person on the workforce or the most demanding or the most recognized person on the workforce is the person who works their job around their life, or the person that's on the job who don't need the damn job but likes their damn job. So those are the two people you got to look out for on the job, because those are probably going to be your go-getters. Those are the people that's going to pretty much climb the corporate
Yeah.
ladder, or be those people that's going to be there forever for you, whereas everybody else is fizzling out very quickly or having a bad day because they don't like their job, because they don't like something that happened that day at their job, for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. Like
That's typically
not
what it is.
liking my job doesn't really ever register to me at all during the day or when I'm off and I don't have to go to work. I'm not like thinking like I'm so glad. It's more just like, yeah, I mean, I'm not confident enough to say like I don't need a job. My job, I don't need. I mean, it's not like I need my job, but at the same time, uh, I like, or it's important to like what you do,
Hmm.
because that's how you move up. Like, and this is the part about game that I think the black pillars don't understand is like game is like it's this thing that someone should enjoy doing. It's not something that if you have the looks, you're gonna be like they hate on people with these certain like these certain like distinguishable qualities. Like maybe they have a job, or maybe they have maybe they are maybe they're like they have some sort of talent or some sort of skill that makes them more noticeable. Everybody has a skill everybody has something unique about them, right? But for some reason, these people uh, are worthy of shame, are worthy of being called a Chad in sort of a derogatory term, or however that you want to put it, or maybe they just have really good looks. But for some reason, those that warrants like I said, them to have to speak on it, I guess, for the good of science, which really like it doesn't add anything. It really just creates a window for people to see into how you, like you said, how you feel, how you conduct yourself, and how you really view the game, and things like that. Like you lost the game, for example. It's like it should be something that you enjoy doing. Anything that you do, you should enjoy doing it. If you don't like doing it, then you're justifying doing it. Then again, you're putting this idea of serving something else higher than you as a strength, which like I said, like this is the reason why certain people are sexist or racist, is because whatever they grew up with, whether it be religion, told them that there's a certain way to value things, a certain way to order things, and you should value those things and serve those things as opposed to serving your own interests. And
True.
it's like it's a dogmaticism, obviously, but it's also like this creepy thing. It's like they think that somebody's looking on their actions or their inactions and nodding their head approvingly, even though there's nobody there. They're all alone in their own head, and they're literally justifying it. Like for me to look at a woman and be like, "Oh, I would never treat a person like that with respect," or something like that. It doesn't make me feel good to do. Like if I see somebody doing something stupid, or if I know if somebody just told me that person did something stupid, it's going to affect my perception of them. But
Yeah.
if there's just a neutral environment, I'm not going to just change up just to, like I said, or like you were saying, like just please somebody, some black pillar out there, you know, and that's how anyone should be. Like that's why the manosphere is created, is because we're seeing a opportunity to share with people the like like a perspective of reality that's saying why do you agree? Why do you agree? Not what do you agree about? I mean, we're just asking people to talk with one another, and to not go into that hole. They're into that capitalist rabbit hole where we're just buying whatever we can buy to make ourselves happy because we're so upset with how things are. It's just resentment fueling a hope strategy, and it's
Yeah,
just yeah, or not
it's
resentment
basically
per
nothing
se.
more. Because the sad part about that, once you actually look at it, it's basically low grade red pill rage, or I'll refer to it as blue pill rage, because technically you're trying to reason with shit that you shouldn't even be reasoning with in the first fucking place. First off, secondly, why are you bargaining trying to get things that won't always end up in your favor or go your way? Or why is it that you're trying to pretend as if you're the hell's it called? Damn, lost my thought again. Pretend as if it's why are you trying to pretend as if doing any of the stuff that you're trying to do, or moping, or trying to play the depressed loner, is going to garner you the attention from women that you want? It's technically what I said about the whole entire when I said why are you MGTOW thing video that
Uh-huh,
I made.
uh-huh.
Definitely go check that out. That was actually pretty interesting. I actually enjoyed doing that video. Um, that whole entire video was on the premise of are you joining it because the groupies? Then you're joining it for the wrong reason. Are you joining it because you want the love and admiration of adoring fans and stuff like that? Then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Are you doing it because you you can't get a woman's or the woman that you want, so therefore you're MGTOW? You're doing it for the wrong reasons. Are you doing it for the red pill content creator groupies that revolve around us? The ones that make content that revolve around the whole entire manosphere. Are you doing it for their attention and love and admiration? Then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. So it's one of those things where, like, you have to figure out why you're doing it, and the proper way, the proper reasoning, and the proper line of reasoning behind why you want to do it and why you're doing it. Because at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're going to put forth these flimsy things, or these things about how you feel or how you look and stuff like that, you're basically playing into society's hands for all intents and purposes. Because
Hmm.
the sad part about that, at the end of the day, when it comes down
Like I
to it,
said, yeah, like all of the knowledge, none of the knowledge can be used that you espouse can be used to support your argument.
yeah,
But
none,
every
none of it can.
mistake that you
The
make,
sad part about that, because now you're
which you make
arguing.
more, the more emotional you are, you make more mistakes, and then
Yeah,
all that's going to be brought back and used against you once
yeah.
all this stuff comes to light. Once they figure out, once your own fans start turning against you, then shit's really going to hit the fan.
And the sad part about that is it's not even just that. It's more or less the fact
Yeah,
that
sure.
when you're just playing into society's hands, like I was about to say, when it comes down to it, because this is typically how a single mother raises their single children, their sons. So basically, you're projecting the same attitude, behaviors, and motives of a boy raised by a single mother. And the sad part about that, like I always say in videos, women like to see men destroyed, or feel as though they're not adequate or out of touch, because it's easier for them to sort out the losers and the winners for all intents and purposes when you're actually acting and moping like a little bitch for all intents and purposes as a man. So it's one of those things where, like, it's not about maintaining frame, because maintaining frames, that's pretty much a bitch move too. Um, so you just want to be yourself, and you want to be the best version of yourself for all intents and purposes. It's not about being the best version of yourself for somebody else. It's about being the best version of yourself for yourself. If you can't do that first, then you'll have nothing to stand on, or nothing to actually hold you up, or no platform or no foundation to actually build yourself up. If you're not doing it for yourself, if you do it for yourself, you'll have all the foundation, all the barrier, all the platform, and all the groundwork laid, so you can actually build yourself up to be a stronger person or a better person or in the things that you want to do for all intents and purposes. Because at the end of the day, you can't build yourself on somebody else, because who's to say that their foundation is strong? Who's to say
Yeah.
that their word even has anything or any stance in life any damn way? Or who's to say that what they got going on isn't flimsy
It's
their
like,
damn
yeah,
self?
it's like if you wait for women to qualify the relationship, then essentially you basically are basically like trusting them to understand what you like, even though you have a suspicion that they're gonna that you're gonna mess up before they mess up, and so you're already putting yourself at a huge deficit.
Yeah, because
Like,
the sad part about that, it's not a woman's job to qualify a relationship.
yeah,
It's
and
a
like the
man's job
choosing
to
signals,
qualify.
and
It's
that's
a
what
man's
they're
job
like.
to
Yeah,
qualify the relationship. And the sad part about that, when it comes down to it, the more you put the ball, the more you put the ball in all the power in a woman's court, the more you're going to suffer. If you want to make a relationship out of that, for all intents and purposes, never leave the ball completely in a woman's court, because now what you did is basically gave her all the power to pick and choose when and what she wants to do with you, and pretty much reign over you. Now you're literally Mr. Puppet to her own whims, for all intents and purposes. And yes, strings are attached, and she does have your hand up your ass, basically. So it's one of those things where, like, you basically have to be you have to basically qualify the relationships, and not really need her approval to do so, or not really need her look to her for approval or confirmation. Basically, just be sure of yourself and just keep it moving, because
oh,
it doesn't
I
matter.
gotta
It
send you
doesn't
this video.
Because at the end of the
It-
day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much. It doesn't matter how much you make, what kind of job you have, what kind of car you drive, what you look like. Because at the end of the day, here's the cold hard truth. When at the end of the day, there are women who marry Chads, who divorce Chads for men with money, more money. There are men.
well,
There are men. There are men.
yeah, I
There
think
are men.
you would add the disclaimer there, like Chad who isn't on his purpose, or
Well,
a
the sad part
Chad,
about
like,
that,
because
all Chad.
isn't
The
there
sad
such
part about
thing as
well,
a
sad part
genetic
about that.
Chad?
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
most Chads that everybody call a Chad is not on their purpose.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Everybody
See.
who's classified as a Chad, only 2% or 1% of those people are actually on their purpose. I would give it 1% are actually on their purpose.
Yeah.
The rest of the
A
Chads are
lot of
basically
Chads. You're right.
the rest of
Because
the
they
Chads. The
still
rest of the
look
Chads are
to
ain't shit,
women for
ain't shit
confirmation.
motherfuckers, basically, that get
Yeah.
propped up by society. This is typically what I'm talking about when it comes to propping people up who don't need to be fucking propped up, just like women. There are a bunch of guys in society who don't really need to be propped up or called like super Chads and shit like that, when in fact they're not Chad. They got surgery done. End of fucking story. They weren't Chad. They had to get surgery to be Chad. Therefore, what that lets me know is you can get surgery done to be Chad. So let that shit go at the end of the day. And there's a lot of men out there, no matter how tall you are, how short you are, how fat you are. There are men out there that are big who got like the bombest women in the world. Like, how the fuck that work? There are men. I don't mean like big as in like big and strong. I mean big as in looking like Biggie Smalls and shit, big and shit like that. Like, so it's one of those things where it's like there's a lot of shit in between that you're skipping over or that you're ignoring to get to the point where you need to be at in any and all these relationships, for all intents and purposes. Because at the end of the day, you can't just go from point A, skip over point B, C, and everything in between, and jump straight to Z, and say I got all the knowledge. No, motherfucker, you skipped over A through Y. I mean B
Yeah.
through Y. You don't get all
Well,
the knowledge.
what they do is like, because like, like they do look to women for confirmation. Literally every single thing that they value, they get they get after confirming that women value it. So like looks, money, status. Like, if you want to look a certain way, if you want a certain job, if you want a certain amount of money in your bank account, you can do those things.
Yeah,
You should do that for yourself, obviously.
yeah.
Um, but like if you're going to do this all through the lens of a woman, you might as well be blue pilled. Don't even think about yourself as being red pilled or MGTOW. Just do what you are good at, which is observing and checking for and confirming things through women, because that's all you. If that's your goal, that's not even a goal. If that's your mode of interaction with the world, then that's all it'll ever be. It'll never be anything outside of that. You'll never think outside of the box. Like a lot of these guys are now calling other people gay, or they still have this idea that they can pinpoint men in general, what our actions define us. Or like they claim to know men better than they know better than they know their own selves and stuff, and like can spot when a guy is in denial, or spot when a guy is like. It's still all of these shaming and these challenging tactics that like get men to overcompensate, and it's like a prime technique for manipulation. But what I was trying to say with that is just like they are still, because they're able to call somebody gay. It's like well, just because they like we're more comfortable conversing with one another, and we're not being shamed into isolating ourselves from one another, that makes us gay. It's like that. It's like it doesn't really like make sense. Like it seems like we're more focused on something something for ourselves, and they're distracted with what we're doing, or anybody who's on their purpose is doing. They're trying to get attention from somebody who doesn't even really want to look their way.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like pandering.
To answer Phil's question, yes, you can actually get dick surgery to make your dick a bit bigger. How it works is basically they basically take, I think there's like 2 to 3 inches of dick that is still of shaft that's still inside you for all intents and purposes. So what happens is they'll basically cut you open, cut the ligaments, pull it forward, sew the ligaments back together, and let you heal for all intents and purposes. So you can actually have all 2 to 3 inches of that dick basically to use, and so you can be bigger. You can actually get the surgery done if you really want it done for all intents and purposes. Like I said, there's anywhere between, depending on the person or the biology of the human being, there's typically anywhere between 2 to 3 inches. That doesn't come out you basically still when it gets hard. So basically what they do is they'll cut the ligaments or the tendons around it basically. They'll slide it out, and they'll sew the tendons back together, or they'll basically put the tendons back together and go from there. So yes, you can actually get dick lengthening surgery done. It's only about 2 to 3 inches depending on a human being and their biology, depending on how much of it's inside of them and how much of it actually is outside of them for all intents and purposes, to answer your question, Corey, still. So yes, that's actually a thing. And Chad surgery is pretty much any and all the men in Hollywood, from Tom Cruise to Brad Pitt to Tom Cruise to Brad Pitt to most of the men that got surgery done on their faces, even Mel Gibson and a few other people I can name off the top of my head. But typically, you can actually get the Chad surgery done if you really want it done.
And I just want to add that here too, when they talk about Chad, they pretty much like a large chest, goidials, defined ratios, chiseled chin. That's like those are all feminine characteristics.
They all literally are feminine characteristics. The sad part about that is I laugh at it for the fact that the chiseled chin, if you look at all women have a chiseled chin. Not too many men have a chiseled chin for a reason. And it's just truth. Like, as far as like the body dynamic that they talk about, like men, like the only thing that's actually real about that whole entire thing is the fact that men like a woman with an hourglass figure. That's the only thing that's scientifically proven. That's the only thing that is. The sad part about this new Chad phenomenon is actually nothing more than society implementing trying to turn men into women, basically. So basically, what you go out and do is basically you get the surgery done to have a chiseled chin to look like your mother. Now, 9 times out of 10, your dad probably doesn't have a chiseled chin, but your mother does.
Yeah, true story. And
It's pretty much
and
how it
then it
works.
also feeds into like these perceptions around like monk about what men like and this that and the other, and like about what men's sexual attraction is towards, and like homosexuality. All these things are just glossed over with reasoning, like this whole like logical, well, a like one plus one equals two, like A plus B equals C. Like if you do this, then you're more. Then chances are you are Y.
Hmm.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
But yeah, to actually keep it going, you have to be able to, if you don't have this stuff, you have to go out and get the money if you really want this stuff done to yourself. If you don't want this stuff done to yourself, then you just have to improve yourself in other areas, basically. And it's one of those things where I've always laughed about when it comes down to it. I've always laughed about it, and when people go out and get that, because at the end of the day, that lets me know if a person has to go out and get that, they're not secure with themselves in the first damn place. They're hiding from a lot of insecurities within themselves. So at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, you see a lot of stupid stuff. You'll see a lot of stupid stuff where you'll see a lot of stupid stuff where people will say and do a lot of shit, but then actually don't have the confidence to back it up. It's kind of like what I say about commit and own it, for all intents and purposes. A good example of that. When I say commit and own it, I mean commit and own it. Basically, what I want you to do when I say commit and own it is, if you're going to set out to do something, own it. It don't matter what it is, how bad it is, what's going on with it, just own it. Like if you want to go out and get, if you want to go out and change life or do different things with your life, do it. If you want to prove your life, do it. If you want to go out and buy that car because you like the car, not because you can get many girls with that car, get pussy with that car, because you like the car, do it. Do it and do it big for yourself all the time. Never do it for somebody else. Never do it because, you know, your mom, or never do it because your dad. Never do it because it makes you happy. Do it because it makes you feel good about yourself inside, and do it because it validates yourself. Don't do it because everybody else. Never do it because everybody else wants you to, or everybody else got something going on with. Everybody else got something going on and are basically riding around you or riding on your coattails, trying to get you to the next thing so they can live a lounge chair life on your coattails for all intents and purposes. Do it because it makes you feel good. Never do it. Never do it because you want to feel special. Never do it because you know it's one of those things because everybody else is doing it, or because Bob's doing it, or because Bill's doing it, or because Tad's doing it, or because never do it for any of those reasons. Do it because it makes you feel good about yourself and makes you also want to improve upon yourself and make yourself a better person or better version of yourself, if you know what I mean. So at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, just 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 do you and do you big for all intents and purposes. It don't matter what you are, what you got going on in your life. Just commit and own it and do you to the best of your ability. Don't do anybody else. Do yourself, basically, and do what makes you feel good. Do what makes you do what drives you, and do what makes you improve upon yourself. It is what it is. Um, let's see. I would like to give a shout out to Seeker, hidden with his goofy ass in the comment section, acting a straight fool. Americus DeVille, Alex Trimo. What's up, brother? Um, Corey Steele. Already said Seeker. Who else is in here? No Sweetheart. It's a No Sweetheart production. I believe I seen Rick Rice earlier in the stream. What's up, brother? Rick Stacy, I mean. What's up, brother? What's up, everybody who showed up so far, thus far? Um, but yeah, just do it. Do things because it makes you feel good. What's up, Lord Sos? Do it because it makes you feel good. Don't do it because everybody else wants you to, or because everybody else is doing it, or because all the cool kids are doing it. Never do something because the cool kids are doing it. Because when the cool kids do it, it's basically a fad or a phase or a trend that's actually trending at this point in time. That's all it really is. Because what I found out at a young age, I used to ride skateboards when I was a kid, when I was younger, way younger, when I was like between the ages of like 7, 8, 9. Basically, I used to ride skateboards. The sad part is now, skateboards are cool now for minorities. So now all the minorities are doing it. So now everybody's catching up to some shit I was doing when I was a kid. I've always found that interesting. So never do stuff that's trending, or never be a part of the trend. Do you and do you to the best of you, and try your best to always be ahead of the trends. Because the sad part about that, what you're doing now might be lame, but in years later, when you look at it down the line, it won't be lame, and it'll be the end thing. Um, at the end of the day, it's all about how you actually betray yourself or look at things. It's all about how you carry yourself through life. If you can have the best job in the world, if you don't have the confidence and or the self-esteem, it's not going to get you anywhere. You can look the best in the world. If you don't have the self-esteem or the knowledge and or the ability to, you know, prop yourself up and make yourself look good, then you're not going to get anywhere in life at the end of the day. It's all about your self-esteem and your confidence levels. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good you look, how much money you have, what kind of car you drive, what kind of job you have. If you don't have the confidence or the self-esteem, it's not going to work out for your life. That's basically like a Chad who has no money and doesn't work, basically. It sounds nice and sounds good for now, but the sad part about that is your significant other is going to be chasing money at the end of the day. It sounds great to marry for love up until you realize that you really want some money with this love. So you go off and trade the good looking guy for a rich guy. And the same thing goes for women who trade, the rich guy for the good looking guy, then want to go back to the rich guy. I've always found that very odd and funny at the end of the day. Yeah. So at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, you got to build yourself and you got to make yourself better. And you just can't do stupid shit all the damn time. You can't really do shit, and it's funny how nobody's actually doing anything, but they always want to kick out certain people though. I love how nobody's doing anything and they just letting it happen. It's one of those things where, like, if you're going to do stuff, do it to the best of your ability. Never do stuff mediocrely, or never do stuff subpar. Always do it and do it big. Do it and make yourself a better. Always do it and make yourself a better version of yourself. Always improve upon yourself and always keep an open mind. Like I always say at the end of all my streams, always keep an open mind so you can learn more and take on more information, because the minute you stop taking on information, that's the minute you stop learning and stop growing as a human being. No matter how crazy the information is, you can always listen to that information, take what you need from that information, or take what's important from that information, use it, and make yourself a better person from that information that you gain. Just because you're smart, that don't mean you know everything. Just because you're strong, that don't mean you're the strongest, or you know every single exercise to build yourself even stronger. It's one of those things where you have to improve yourself, and you have to basically keep going and keep pushing forward for all intents and purposes. So at the end of the day, you can't just do shit because just because, for all intents and purposes. Yeah, that's actually pretty true. What don't make sense to you, Lord Sos? um, but yeah, just basically always improve upon yourself. And I don't know where the hell Baron Yam went with his goofy ass, but apparently he's too busy to be in a live stream anymore. Talk about I want to do a 3-hour live stream and shit. And this Negro over here. But yeah, always try to improve. Always try to make better, or always try to make for a better situation, or make so you can actually make it so you can make it so you can actually just do better with your life for all intents and purposes. And since everybody was saying it earlier in the stream, I'm gonna play that for you because everybody was talking about it. All right, there we go. But yeah, always be willing to do better and make for a better life for yourself, and always be willing to make it so you can always grow, or have the room to grow, or the room to adapt and build upon yourself, or make it so that you're able to make it so that you're able to transcend your current situation and everybody around you if possible. Um, never ever settle, and never ever stop improving yourself is the best I can actually say about that. And I think depending on if Yam doesn't come back in the next 2 minutes, I'm gonna end this stream. So anybody got any questions? I say questions, Americans. I ain't say name calling. Yeah. How do you spell Goyles? This guy. How do you spell Goyles? Yeah. Other than that, like, just improve yourself. Just never settle, and never settle for something less than what you deserve. Never get into a situation that you're not willing to walk away from, or you're not willing to walk out of for all intents and purposes. Never, ever, ever do that. it's pretty much the nature of the beast. It's pretty much why it is. Um, just always be a man and try your best to always be a man for all intents and purposes. And Baron Yam over here not responding or anything. Let's see here, read some of these comments. What's with women in shoes? Women like things. Especially shoes. Even if they don't need them, they like shoes and clothes. So it's one of those things where shoes to a woman is basically like a status symbol, or it's basically a status symbol to them. That's all it really is. It's basically having things a status to them. So anything that they do or buy is basically nothing more than so they can show off to other people, or say that they have, and so they can stunt for other people mainly. That's all it really is, and that's all it would ever be. Yeah, what pretty much he said. Yeah, also what he said. Also what Seeker said too. Shoes are like men to women for all intents and purposes. You got to catch them all like Pokemon, basically. Got to catch all the Chads. Got to catch all the Chads. Got to catch the Tyrants. Got to catch the Chads. But no, Cam Hawkins fell off his chair. Pretty much. True story. The sad part about that, I know women that are homeless that still be stunting like they ain't homeless. Like I know legit women that are stunting, that are homeless, that are outside stunting like they ain't really homeless. They let that shit sink in. But it looks like Yam is not coming back, so I'll wait till 2 minutes. I'll wait till the 2 hour mark and I'll call it a day. Chat him on. Tyrone him on. Tyrone him on. I'll wait till the 2 hour mark. If he doesn't come back, then I'm just gonna cut the stream and call it a day. But I'll just keep on reading comments here. They ain't stunting like my daddy, this guy. I have to read your first shoe comment. I think I did. Y'all wild. Spitzna's thoughts on thought on waifu was a Pokemon. Really? I find that hard to believe. Tyrone him on. Who going to pay the bills? Pretty much, yeah. That's another thing that I've noticed about in a society when it comes to women. About bills and stuff like that. They basically want a man. They want to be independent, but they want a man to pay most of the shit in a relationship, or pay all of the shit in a relationship. Um, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's one of those things where you got to take consideration too. Just because women want this newfound independence, they still want the old sound traditionalism that goes with it. But they don't want to be barefoot and pregnant, but they want to be able to go out and make their own money, but they don't want to spend their money on the household, but they want to go out and make their money. So basically, they want their cake and they want to eat it too. They want men to take care of them while they're working these lovely jobs at the end of the day. So basically, they want to be freeloaders. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some women who will contribute to the household, but those are very few and far between if you marry them or date them. Those are very few and far between. Sadly, most women in society are going to be freeloaders. Despite the fact that they're working, they're going to be freeloaders. Even if they got another income coming in, like I always say, most women believe that your income's our income, and your income is our income, and her income is her income. It's typically how it actually pans out, sadly. So it's one of those things where this guy. It's one of those things where like you gotta always be ready to do things or do things to. I mean, you always gotta be ready for all intents and purposes. I mean, I lost train of thought reading that damn comment. You got to take that in consideration. Is what I meant to say. I'm sorry. When it comes to dating women, so it's one of those things. If you're going to do it, be very considerate and be very discerning when doing it. Be very discerning of the woman that's putting herself in front of you or parading herself in front of you for all intents and purposes. Because if you don't, then you'll end up with a dud or a lemon for all intents and purposes that you're paying for the rest of your damn life, which really sucks. So it's one of those things where you have to put in the work. You have to do everything in your power to improve your life or improve upon yourself or, make yourself better. Because if you don't, then it's going to be very bad for you or very poor for you for all intents and purposes. So, yeah. Repeat what? Repeat what, Americus? This guy. About the discerning part? Yeah, if they're going to what part? The discerning part or the fact that a lot of the women actually want a man to actually do work and pay for all the bills or pay for most of the damn bills for all intents and purposes.
Hey, I'm back. Sorry, I took a little bit extra longer than I thought.
Mr. Iglesias with an eye. The last part.
What?
Oh, getting stuck with a lemon. The sad part about that is you have to be discerning. If you're going to date, that is. If you're going to date, which I really speak out against. If you're going to date, always be discerning of the person that you're picking. Because if you're not, you'll end up with a lemon or a dud. And you don't want to end up with a lemon or a dud. It's sad. Because then now you're going to be upset with what you chose because now you went there to go buy yourself a new Corvette and ended up with a fucking lemon that don't work, or every now and again it may start, or every now and again it might, and you might get some enjoyment out of it for all intents and purposes. And it's technically what it is today for all intents and purposes, because now and today you really don't have to really date nobody or commit to anybody because everybody's giving up pussy like it's going out of style, like it's in run stock for all intents and purposes. So it's one of those things, like in the famous words of Dave Chappelle, he said it way back when that women literally flooded the market with pussy. So pussy's not really worth anything anymore.
That's true. It's not worth it.
It's really not, unless you're a simp or a cuck or a white knight, or you're basically your pay pig. Pussy's really not worth what it used to be. Pussy's not worth anything. And the sad part about that, the more women show off, the less their value is in life for all intents and purposes. Because I look at it like this. Because at the end of the day, if a woman's willing to show off her body to everybody else, she's of no value to you. Because everybody's pretty much seen it. There's nothing left to the imagination anymore. So she showed off her body. Now there's no value to her. Now you really don't care to to want to stay with her or look at it anymore because everybody else has seen it and it's out there on the internet for all intents and purposes. So if everybody's seen the person or seen her body, she's not worth her weight in salt anymore.
Well, I think like it's like a almost like a transference. What we were talking about a few streams ago, where it's like a lot of men, they just need help doing everyday things, and so like if they can find a woman to do it for them, then it kind of like it takes that pressure off of them needing to like sort of better themselves or do better, and instead of like they kind of just push all that responsibility onto the woman to do. But like there's a amount of respect that you can, I mean, there's an amount that you kind of like I always believe you should never cook for a woman. Like you should never cook for a woman. Like when I heard on the one stream, I forget what it was, where you're teaching your daughters how to cook, like that's something that's invaluable, because it makes it so that you're not only are you a central point of origin, but you're making it so that no man can ever control that part of her life for her and sort of weaken her by doing something like that. And it doesn't have to do with just like things that are, you could say, are part of like a role or something. It's just like in general, you want people to be as self-sufficient as possible, and so you should never push somebody to do something that like when it comes to this online manosphere thing and people teaching people like we're helping men, and if you're charging money or if you're benefiting, you're not helping men. It's like you're gonna have to benefit from things you do. It's a rule of life, or else you'll perish in life if you don't do things that benefit yourself. And like obviously being selfless is a choice. People are not inclined to be selfless because that would create, I guess, a downgrade. It would create a downward trend in civilization if everybody just gave everything that they could to everyone else. I mean, truthfully, because people are selfish is the reason why that wouldn't work. Because there would be some people who would say, okay, I'll give everything, and secretly they don't really give anything away, and they just hoard everything that everyone gives to them. True. And that's and it's sad, but it's true that's how it is. So you have to approach things with a level of confidence in what you do, and you can't think that you're never good enough and that you always have to give more of your effort to other people. If you're going to feel that way, you should just aim it towards yourself and give more. It sounds kind of like paradoxical almost in a sense, because you have to give and at the same time you have to preserve yourself. So it's like you give it to yourself to try to like create some sort of like positive feedback loop. But again, you can't count on other people to take positive things at face value. Like people are always going to doubt your intentions, and that's something that people should remember and take into their lives and improve about their lives. Is that if something's not making you feel good, then stop doing it. If a person gets mad that you're not doing it anymore, then that's something that's wrong with that person. It's not wrong with you. And that person's going to have to cope with not getting what they're getting anymore from you. Because at the end of the day, they didn't make the choice for you to give that to them. You did. I mean, unless they manipulated you to give it to them, which is it is what it is.
Yeah.
Because like the whole lemon thing, where you get stuck with something that doesn't really work for you, takes way too much resources to put into it to make it sustainable. It's like sometimes you just have to get rid of it and start over.
True. Very true.
And I guess this is why like I guess like, and if you have the knowledge, if you have the ability to, if you have game, I guess you can put effort into something and have it turn out right. But if you don't, all the efforts that you're going to put in is just going to be wasted time. Like you were saying, why would you start a business in a deficit? Why would you invest money in a lemon? Why would you walk up a down escalator.
True.
Or down and up escalator. But sorry, I lost the thread because I was gone so long. But I managed to make it 2 hours. I don't know what you're talking about.
True. I was
But
still
yeah.
talking trash though.
About me?
Yeah, hell yeah, I was talking trash about your ass. No, I'm with you. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
I basically said the usual this nigga.
You didn't put the yam dance clip up? Did you see that video I sent you about the Asian chat on his purpose?
No, I didn't check it out yet. I'm guessing you
It's
sent it
kinda
in
funny.
Discord. Huh?
Yep, I did. It's just funny because he's just staring at the video game, and a bunch of girls just come and are just like draped over him. Like there's a girl who literally has her hands wrapped around his waist.
Yeah, now. And he's not even the best looking person in the world, but he got a bunch of women just around him,
just staring at him, he's
and admiring him. And he got glasses on too, mind you.
Exactly, no goidials, and I don't know, when it comes to investing, it's like I guess, you can pretty much see that they look at him as if he is worth invest. And I wonder if I could post the link anywhere. Because it's
AJ,
Chronicles of AJ.
It's Chronicles of AJ. Yeah, I can
Chronicles of AJ. Yeah, so you guys just gotta look on his playlist.
I'm about to go pull it up now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they invest in these guys that look like women, who act like women, and then they and they don't even stare at them.
Probably stand in the mirror just as long as women do.
Exactly, grooming themselves and painting themselves right, but then it's like they're not comfortable with who they are in the mirror, so it's more or less just they're waiting on. It's almost like a gentleman caller, like they're waiting on some women to come sweep it off their feet. And at the same time, you have like women in nowadays who will say that that's the kind of guy that they want, especially if that guy can make a lot of money, and then they don't even stare at him the way that they stare at somebody who literally doesn't pay any attention to them at all, who doesn't look the best, who is focused on doing things that they like to do. And no matter what, those people always end up getting the attention at the end of the day for some reason, and they end up attracting like real love and genuine feelings, and not just feelings based on lust and fleeting things and stuff like that. So it's interesting how things play out in the long run. On his purpose.
I think he's actually one of the top Summoner Wars players on Summoner's War.
Wait, what is he playing? Is it a fighting game or?
He's playing a fighting game, but I think he's one of the top players in Summoner's War.
Oh, in Summoner's War.
He's actually,
okay.
In Summoner's War, yeah.
In Summoner's War. So he does have some status.
Oh, he has a shit ton of skills
and some money.
I wouldn't say money, but like he pretty much whoops ass in like video games for all intents and purposes. Like I can only aspire to be as high as him. I'm working my way up, but I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. I still got to room my monsters a little bit better and stuff like that. But I got a few monsters that are just on point.
I've been playing Wolfenstein a lot. I played the New Order first, and then now I'm getting into the Old Blood.
Mm-hmm.
and then next I'll play obviously the new Colossus 2, followed by Young Bloods. But like that part of gaming for me is still open. Like I like playing uncompetitive games competitively, and just like really channeling my anger and channeling my rage into that. And it actually like I'm not perfect at it, but like honestly I feel like it makes me just a more pleasant, fun-loving, life affirming kind of person. And oftentimes you'll see people who are dedicated to making these very large public strides in life, whether it be like tied to like relationships or empire or the whole Scarface money power bitches type, fuck bitches get money type thing. It's always
money, power, respect, the locks.
yeah, money, power, respect, or oh yeah, is that the one that goes money, power, respect, money, power, respect? That one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eat alive, money, power,
It's like
respect.
it's like yeah, it's like
you sleep at night. You'll sleep at night. First you get the money, then you get the power. First you get the money, then you get the respect, then you get the power.
You get the respect, then you get the power. Then you get the women.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, I mean, obviously that's only is the case for, I would say, like 1% of the male population, because most of them just go for one of those things, or can only really capitalize on one of those things. Yeah, and then what happens is that
I typically go for all of them for all intents and purposes. So I don't just go for money; I go for power and respect. So I'm willing to bend and break rules to fit my needs, just to get respect out of people or take it from somebody for all intents and purposes. So it always ends up being one of those things where it's like, you know, not too many people are willing to actually go that route or be that human being or be willing to do so or follow the path that I usually follow. Because like I said, I ain't got no problem with justifying various crimes. I have no problem with justifying anything for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. Well, then you also have people who are incapable of justifying something, so they need other people to
justify it for them.
Yeah,
or confirm that they're doing right. Yeah, I love how that works.
I mean, it's sort of like terrified of actually making a decision in life. I prefer who's that? Blah, nobody now. That's a good one. Who's that creeping in my window?
I'm more of a rest in piss guy.
Rest in piss. Wait, what song is that from?
This is HE East Full. I got my 9mm Glock ready to put one in your nut. Rest in piss.
Sounds like Bone Thugs.
This is
judgment comes with you.
I got that 9mm Glock ready to put one in your nut. Rest in piss. That's my shit right there. Literally. Shoot them, blow their brains out, let them pee themselves, and let them rest in it.
Yeah, I mean, and then, well, that's interesting. Now you say the justify thing, because, like that, like, do you feel, does justifying things ever make you feel weak?
Because usually the stuff that I'm justifying basically would be like would almost be like playing God.
That's what that's how I kind of tend to view that. I tend to view it similarly, but it's like
I don't justify things that are trivial or stupid. I usually justify things where like it's like life altering or life changing or life ending for all intents and purposes. It's simply how it works. So like a good example of that, if I'm like I've said multiple times, if I'm a hostage in a bank, I will negotiate my freedom, fuck everybody else.
Mm-hmm. But like people will say confidence is like something that will help you to be the hero, when really it just, like, I think it just makes confidence is what and self worth is what separates the anti-hero from the villain. and like the hero doesn't need any character qualities because like they could start out with nothing for the most part, but their whole thing is about gaining those things throughout the story. Whereas like an anti-hero just has they are the person they are they're in the same state basically as like we are.
Yeah.
And
I've
like
always been an
that's
anti-hero
what's
kind
good.
of person anyway. Like, because I
Hmm.
never really wanted to be the hero. I always wanted to be the anti-hero. And I've always been an anti-hero. Like, I play both sides of the law. So it's not like it really matters to me. So it's like one of those things where it's like, you basically have to understand what you got yourself into, or understand what you're getting yourself into, and understand how the game is played so you can actually play it properly for all intents and purposes. Because at the end of the day, if you don't play it properly, you're going to play yourself, or you're going to hurt yourself in the process of doing so. So
Do
you
you
just
think
got
it's
to be
ever
able.
good to hurt? Do you think it's ever good to hurt yourself?
It all depends on the situation. If it's to hurt yourself to free yourself, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. If it's
Yeah, like,
to
well,
if it's
they
to
have that
hurt
movie
yourself to
Saw.
manipulate the situation
Like,
to get
like
like I remember one time,
if somebody's
like a
trying
good
to
example.
manipulate you and you just straight up hurt yourself before they hurt you, you might like you could like scare them away, or you could
Yeah,
like because you're
like
like
a good
out
example of that.
crazying them. You know?
Like a good example of that is when I was in a mercenary. When I was a mercenary, I had this one dude that like he he was we were pinned down, right? So apparently they wouldn't come unless somebody was injured. So he took and he shot himself.
Oh shit.
So people came. Um,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
could
one of
again.
those
Yeah.
things where like he sacrificed himself to save everybody. The sad part about that is if you'd have gave even if you'd have gave us like a couple more minutes, we'd have solved the problem and got out of that in a heartbeat. So it's not like it really matters or we really needed the help because I was actually starting to enjoy it because I literally have a playlist. I literally had a playlist on my MP3 player at the time that literally had like what 7 songs, and it was like the most sadistic shit, the most sadistic songs from like Brother Lynch Hong to Rest in Piss to Gorilla Zoe. Um, Compton City G's was on there too. There was a lot of songs that basically were like crazy look. So yeah, so it's one of those things where like you basically it was one of those things where it's like even if they waited like a couple extra minutes, we'd have got out of that situation either way.
Chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself. I chickadee check myself before I wreck myself. Yeah, furthest I go with rap is like Kangaroo Jack. You know, I am Jackie Legs, and I'd like to say hello. It's basically all I got. Basically all I got. I listen to a lot of the mumble rap and trap rap stuff when I'm on the job. Just because it's just like it pumps you up and makes you feel like you're really good. Though I've noticed it's something weird too. It's like sometimes I will become more like you could say blue pilled. Like when it's like dude, everything that's in the mainstream, literally. I mean, they don't call it indoctrination for no reason. Like it has an effect. It definitely has an effect on your mood. Like literally all that. And then yeah, I would just stick with music right now. But it's like yeah, depending on that, because when I listen to classical music, it's almost like I'm like less phased by things around me because I don't even know. Maybe classical music's blue pill too. Maybe I'm just justifying it because it is really meaningless. Whatever I choose to listen to. Sometimes I listen to red pill stuff too when I'm bagging or not bagging when I'm working or when I'm
Ganja
stalking or what I'm doing.
beta. Let me stop.
Beta. Yeah. Right. Whatever, Tico. Don't make me ball you up. That's
Yeah, right. You wish. I like to see you try.
just drain one right in your 6'1" face. Just drain one. Just
Yeah, right.
nothing
That'd be
but
the
net.
thing. Actually, 6'2". Get it right.
Oh, now you're changing it up. Okay, never get caught in a lie. That's all I'm gonna say. We know everything.
Well, no, because the sad part about that, I actually got measured the other day by my personal trainer, and apparently I'm 6'2".
Oh, another thing,
So
like for the car,
when I
if
get
you
on the
guys want
scale
to
my
buy a
damn
car,
self, apparently I'm 6'1", 6'1", and 3/4. When I get measured by my personal trainer, apparently I'm 6'2".
just to reference something Double I said once, it's like in relations to the serving a strength thing. It's like when you go in for a car, and they're like, you look the way you do. If you're not like some like super successful, racially acceptable person to the salesman, they're gonna ask for the credit report. They're gonna be like, oh, they're gonna feel you out, and they're gonna be like, well, here, let me go run your credit. I've had multiple people say to me already, like when you go in for the car, just be like, I don't care about the credit. How much do you want the car for? Right? How much are you selling the car for? And they will give you, and they will like give you a better quote, because a lot of people will look at a person like me, or they might look like a person like Tico. Although Tico does have the halo effect sometimes, but they will be like, oh, I don't trust this guy. I don't think he doesn't look like he has a lot of money, especially if you pull up in like a Toyota or something. Just like a Toyota Corolla or whatever.
Why you hating on my Corolla?
I'm not. I'm gonna get one.
My Corolla would beat your ass in a race.
Well, yeah, just me running barefoot. Yeah, it would be me, or on the Segway. Oh, are you saying you soup up your Corolla? My Corolla.
Not Corolla, I mean Camry. We got the racing edition one.
Oh, so you really be carrying weight in the truck.
It's literally the Fast and Furious edition.
Wait, they had a Toyota Camry in the Fast and Furious? You're kidding.
No.
They did it?
No. I don't think they did. If they did, I missed it.
Oh, okay. I thought you said it was the Fast and Furious car. I was like, what?
It's like, it's literally souped up like a Fast and Furious car. It got the seats, it got the steering wheel, it got the NOS, it got everything in that car.
Oh, dang. But NOS in a Corolla? So what does it top out at, like 120? Oh, Camry?
Oh, no. It tops out at, I think it's actually the fastest car ever put together. It's like, tops out at like 205.
Wow.
I took the governor out of it.
You took what out of it?
The governor. That's this chip that goes in cars so they can actually regulate the speed.
Oh, so they're like, yeah. Because the car manufacturer's like, we don't like having a bunch of our cars being involved in a bunch of accidents.
No, it's not even just that. It's like all of them have governor chips so they can regulate the speed. It's based on your government and the company, basically.
Oh, I see.
But most cars,
like I said, the credit thing
are typically regulated by like cars like the supercars, like Ferrari and Lamborghini, basically.
Well, I think it's multiple things, like what Hidden's saying, because it's like, it's not just that they probably get more. They probably can get you to pay more too. But they add more people to the sale. Kind of like what happens in sales. Oh, think before you sleep. Yeah, that's what he posted it. And shout out to Billy the Goat too, because Billy the Goat's a smart guy. But they really they will assess you, right? And they'll be like, this guy's ain't shit. He probably doesn't have any money. Then they say like, oh, let me go get the head of the so-and-so department, or like the insurance, the Toyota insurance rep. He'll be able to like give you a better quote. So the more people they have addressing your sale, the less likely you are to say no. And that means that because the more people the more eyes they can have on your account, the more they can sort of, brainstorm how can we sell this guy. Whereas if you're saying, I'm just working with you, or I don't care about any of that. I don't want the credit report or anything. I just want to buy the car. How much is it worth? You're kind of cutting all the bullshit and getting straight to the point. Like how much money do you want for this? And
No, because in all technicality, you want to wait till you actually get to the actual finance office to actually start talking about monies. Because anything before the finance office, you're going to screw yourself over if you're coming with cash.
yeah. Wait, so how exactly would you do it then? Like, I suppose. So how exactly would you do it? Would like you go, you find the car that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dang, hidden throwing shade. Damn.
Corollas aren't a piece of. I mean, Corollas aren't a piece of shit.
China UV light. Jesus Christ, nothing. Dexter sophisticated OCD cleanups. Wow. Dude, my favorite thing now is like the hand vacuum. It's one of my favorite things. Love the hand vac. So like if I
Actually, there is actually a UV light in my car.
no way. How much money did you pour into that? I'm not gonna ask you that. I'm not gonna ask.
Not very much.
Because ideally, yeah, I mean, you want to buy you just want to buy a car that works for you. You don't want to go too overboard with it.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the part about enjoying it too, where you got to kind of just balance, what you want. Like me, the Corolla's fine. I've never really like invested heavily in the car. But I have bought. I have participated in buying a lemon before, and that was not fun. Because it's just like it's just wasted time too. And it's like you feel, and you never, especially if you bought it from a personal or from a private owner, because you're just like, you're like promised this, you're promised how it's good. Like you're like you have a certain expectation of what it's gonna be like, or how long you're gonna drive it for, and then it turns out, then you end up driving it for however long, and it's like, oh my gosh, this was not worth it.
Yeah. Because the sad part about that is, when it comes down to it, I bought like 2 or 3 cars together when I bought that car. I bought like 4 cars together when I bought that car. I think it set me back like $36,000 for that Camry.
Mm.
The first off,
you said 36,000. Dang.
About 36,000.
About 40K.
For 2 reasons. And that was about 36,000. About 36,000 ish, probably like 38,000 after taxes. Because basically, I got the Camry, I got the sports, I got the sports trim on it first off. Then on top of that, I got the race. They call it the Toyota Racing Development. So it basically had all the stuff for racing put on it all together. Then I put like. It was all souped up and everything. So all I had to do was like basically, use my car knowledge to basically make it where I wanted to be. Nice. So I think I spent a grand total of like, off the lot, the car set me back like 37,000.
That seems to be so far, it seems to be one of the hardest things for me to get a hold of, is like just reliable and like usable information about automobiles, because I don't really live with people, nor do I like I don't have any close family or culture. Yeah, but does it explain to you how everything works, or does it just give you the stuff and you got to know it? You got to know it already.
It lets you know if the car's been in an accident, flood, engine problems, all that shit. It lets you know the whole entire car's history.
That's all you need is Carfax, or in order to like?
Carfax, but you also still take it to mechanic, but Carfax basically. It lets you know all the problems.
That's
It
before
lets you
you
know all
buy
the
it.
problems that it's been in. It lets you know how many owners there really was. It lets you know if it was in an accident, if the engine fell out, if it was in a flood, if it was a rebuilt wreck or something like that. It basically lets you know the whole entire history of the car.
Oh
Well, not
yeah.
the whole entire physical history of the car. Whereas like you just basically take it to a mechanic so you can actually get them to look at it to see how bad it is.
I just don't want it to end up being really dirty and then me having to figure out what to do with it as opposed to just driving it because that's
That's
all I
why I
do.
told you to go. That's why I told you you might as well just take your ass to a Toyota dealership or a dealership to actually get it.
Mhm.
You take yourself to if you go to a private clinic. I mean, actually, not like one of them fly by night dealerships. I mean, like an actual dealership, like they actually got like Toyota or Kenny Ross or McKean or McCain or whatever the fuck they call that one. Basically, you basically want to go to one of them dealerships to do it if you're going to do it.
Uh,
Don't get me wrong. You can probably find something elsewhere, like at a used car store and stuff like that. But the sad part about that, the fact that you don't have that much knowledge, I would just go to a regular.
not not just move to Europe and walk everywhere.
Yeah, don't just you move to Europe and walk everywhere, you goofball. No, basically, don't just don't you basically want to go to a dealership so you really don't have all that car knowledge. So you actually want to go to a dealership. That way you know what you're getting, you know what you're getting yourself into, and they really can't undersell you on some shit basically because they kind of sort of have. I think a lot of the dealerships has this fiduciary. A lot of the actual major dealerships have this fiduciary thing where they can't really just lie to you. They have to do shit for your best interest.
Really? So all that stuff about they make you pay an insurance thing to get you to spend to get you out of your to talk you out of your money. All that stuff is just
Well, there's still that part. When you get to the finance office, that's when you actually start talking them out of that shit. Or you pretty much go there, you start Xing shit off like I'm not paying this, I'm not paying this, I'm not paying this. Like, and those are usually like the random shit that's on there that makes no damn sense. Like some type of cost for some random shit. Basically, you X that
so it's
off and be
only
like,
if
I'm
you're
not paying that.
under dire circumstances where you would just be like, yeah, okay, I'll pay all that. Like I just need the car. Like I was.
Well, you should never be that much in a rush. If you're going to be buying a car, if you're going to be buying a car like that, that's like going to a store on an empty stomach. Why would you go to the store on an empty stomach? Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to buy all the shit in the store that you don't fucking need, and now you're going to have a cart full of shit that you don't need or probably can't afford now.
Ooh, that's kind of tricky because it's like, what if you
Never like basically buying a car. Never buy a car if you're in a hurry to get the car out of the damn lot, and never go to the store.
That's
Never
weird.
go
Then.
to a grocery store if you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically.
I think under that wisdom, it would all you'd almost say like you should never go shopping with like your son because your son's a growing boy and he can always eat, like always willing to eat. So it's like if you're gonna bring your son shopping with you, you're probably gonna buy more than if you were to
No,
just leave.
because Laszlo's actually pretty good. Laszlo's actually really good. So he's never really a problem. Um, the problem that you'll run into with shopping with children is if they're spoiled brats, or if they act bratty or they throw temper tantrums. That's where you'll start running into a problem with children. If you don't really teach them properly or train them properly or teach them how to be young adults basically properly, and you're mainly one of them parents that stick an iPad in front of their face. That's when you start running into all those problems with children.
That's sad, man. There's parts of me that are really like a go-getter that like what I do, and then there's parts of me that I'm just like, man, you've been so spoiled over the years that you're just a lost cause. But I mean, like you could always, yeah. I mean, I can always try to reverse it, but then like you said, the work. It feels like so much work at certain times to do to like fix about something like Like that's what I said about the hurting yourself.
I'm not talking about getting your car fixed at the dealership. I'm talking about buying a car from the dealership.
Yeah, like I don't have any context. Like honestly, I don't. It's hard for me to understand that stuff. It's like I'm more comfortable with people talking about like DS dynamics and stuff than I am about like people talking about cars and stuff. It's just sad. It's sad, but it is what it is.
Speaking of which, reaction video on Saturday, guys.
Oh really? Like Hidden and Wind, everybody?
Yeah, you, Hidden, Wind, everybody.
I promise not to emote. I'll just be emotionless.
No, it's just a reaction video. That's all. Nothing special.
All right, let's get this before the dealership. Only know about
y'all gonna love.
Yeah, that's
y'all
good.
gonna love this.
That's what you said about the last one. And the last one, I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
I did like it. I did like the pinky cocaine.
It's almost like that, but a little bit worse.
Oh, worse. So, wow.
Oh yeah, it's worse. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's like the thing too with that video that I did, and it goes along with like the whole, I think Corvette syndrome too, because it's like I don't have any kids. So I like whenever I see something like that, you can imagine. I'm not sure if you can imagine how I look at it. Like I look at it as if like I don't know. It's just this weird
like self. That person.
Huh?
You went to college with that person.
That yeah, well, yeah, and then that person like wants to be looked at as being like, you know, demure, respectable, and whatever. Yet they're willing. They're like they do that. It's just like, God. And I do know how to ride.
Hidden. That sounds great in theory, but not everybody has bus. Not everybody has like bus and public transportation. Like Pittsburgh or Toronto.
Silly.
Not everybody got it good like. Not everybody got it good like those two cities when it comes to transportation. Get transportation anytime you want to in Pittsburgh. Get transportation anytime you want to in Toronto.
Well, that's the point about giving advice. You gotta actually assess the person before you get the advice. Like Tico wouldn't be giving me car advice if he knew that I could just easily get a chauffeur, or if
if we had bus service that runs like all day or all night or something like that, or quite regularly.
Nope. I wish. No, I don't.
You want to know something funny? I know how to catch public transportation more in Toronto, and I'm barely there, than I do know how to catch public transportation in the United States. And I basically live around here. Like, let that shit sink in.
I think that's a real phenomenon. Like, I think that you could go to a completely foreign place, even though.
And Yam fell out. Yam's a goofball. Yam is back.
I said you.
And he fell out again. This goofball again. Fuck the bus. This guy. And he's back.
I don't know. Maybe he's gonna do it again.
Right? That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing about game. I'm still trying to learn is like, yeah, you can't necessarily fake like like I think people may do that. Maybe that's what I'm doing right now. It's like it's like I typed in how to buy a car on Google or YouTube or something, and it's like there's something.
Yeah, emoting? No, never. I'm just kidding now. Like, fuck you, Tico.
Wait, what?
Not that I'm being a smartass. I'm being a smartass.
Okay. No, it's good, it's good. But like, there's like some things you can learn, and then there's some things that you're the only time you learn is when you do something wrong. Like that.
True.
That's like when it comes to things that are competitive, you can't like really research them. You kind of have to. You kind of have to be hands on. Whereas like if it's just like a single player game, yeah, you could just look up all of the where all
The
the
cheats.
collectibles are, or cheat by looking up yeah hidden Easter eggs and stuff, and then that's the value that you get out of the game that's kind of spoiled. Whereas like you can't really spoil a competitive game unless you hack the game.
True.
But then again, like most people don't give, or like some people don't give a lot of, they don't appreciate when they have to actually grind to like get to a certain level. They're like, I just want to have the best gun right now.
Yeah, no.
And sometimes I feel like sometimes I feel like that.
Then when they got to use that gun, they suck at using that gun.
Exactly. Like sometimes I feel like I'm like that. Like I'm like, yeah, I don't want to have something that looks raggedy. I'd rather have the best thing. And then I like lose that thing, or like I break it from like not using it. I'm like, see, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, because like I remember when I used to do like Call of Duty for while I used to play Call of Duty while doing my videos, and I remember when Janky said, "You up there killing people with the worst guns in the game." Damn, Tico. And the sad part about
Hmm.
that, I will actually use the worst guns in the game on purpose, just so I can get good at using the really good guns in the game. So I ain't got no problem running. Like if you ever notice, I'll run around with a pistol most of the times, just shooting people with pistols and shit. Like it
Yeah.
ain't shit. Like I'm using like an assault rifle or something like that. But so it's typically one of those things where it's like if you're not going to do the grind properly, you can't really expect to be good at what you do. Sad part about that is I think I'm better with a pistol than I am with an assault rifle in that game.
Well, the
Anywho's,
sad thing about the multiplayer games is they're like they don't actually take they don't you don't actually have agency in a play in it. Like you have a large amount of complexity, or you don't really have a lot like a lot of complexity in the terms of the game mechanics, because you only can have two weapons unless you have a perk that allows you to move it up to four weapons. Like in a
hmm
single player game, you have basically like 9 or 10 weapons that you carry around with you all at one time. Like if it's a first person shooter, unless it's Doom. Well, no, in Doom you have all your guns too. Like Bethesda's first person shooters, inventory based single player.
hmm
Um, but then like in multiplayer games, it's always like, or like Last of Us multiplayer, third person multiplayer games, the Call of Duty franchise. You get one primary gun, one secondary gun,
hmm
and it's like most of the games don't even have
you'll get a bunch of specialty weapons after that, like
like
grenade or.
or like kill streak, or yeah, special
Well, no,
equipment.
I'm talking about the
But
ones that you actually get to carry with you, like the bow and arrow, or the or like the bow and arrow, the flamethrower, and shit like that. Not those ones. Those ones you get, depending on your kill streak. I'm talking about the ones that you actually get with you. Like you get your primary weapon, you get your secondary weapon, which is usually assault rifle or a shotgun or a sniper rifle, stuff like that. But then on top of that, you get like your little handgun. But then on top
mhm,
of that, you also get like a grenade or a smoke. You get like a smoke grenade or grenade,
mhm.
and you'll get like either a flamethrower, a some type of crazy
Oh, like a
gun,
special weapon, yeah, like a
a
large
bow and
LMG.
arrow. Yeah, something like that, basically.
Hmm. I like The Last of Us because you can do. They give you, what else they give you? Like a Barrett. You can give you like a high power sniper rifle. So
Uh
you
huh.
have like a marksman rifle, a shorty like sawed off, or like
hmm
a grenade launcher, like a little handheld grenade launcher. And then you get like a hard, sorry, not a hard. I was gonna say like hard scope. I was like, what the hell? But yeah, you get like a very large caliber sniper rifle or a flamethrower. or I think they have like an automatic shotgun. I'm thinking about Last of Us. But Last
Yeah.
of Us is cool because you can craft equipment in the game. Like there's pieces lying around for you to craft stuff, which I think is like it balances it out a little bit, but then there's no way to do extra damage. Everything's still pretty much like shoot a person here, it does this amount. Shoot them in the head, it does more damage. That's basically it. Which makes sense. I mean, I think it's not like a surprise that that mechanic
I know.
hasn't
Yeah.
really been.
Keep
What's that?
going. I gotta pick up this call.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it hasn't been revolutionized in a while because it's just like, yeah, it's pretty straightforward, and people seem to be entertained by it, or people seem to be pretty occupied with it already. Just the mix and matching of different loadouts and stuff. To me, that wasn't really a fun part of a game. Like the story, yeah, I get the story is a fun part of the game. But then like just the tactics, like how you survive with whatever you're given. Because honestly, a more fun game, other than like the typical first person shooter.
Some goofy ass fucking insurance company called me, give me a better rate on mine. I was like, you're not. There's no way in hell you can give me a better rate. So, we might can help you save money. No, you can't. Oh, we got your information. We forwarded. No, you didn't. You ain't got a lot of kicker, dude. Get the fuck out of here with this bullshit.
You probably see you're like, he's a dangerous man. The chances of him using our insurance are very high. We must advertise.
Well, no, it's for car insurance. I think I only pay what like $78 for car insurance anyway for one car. So I'm good. I'm
I'd say
good.
we're good. I was just saying. I'm just saying they
No,
probably
I'm talking about the person on the phone. We know every penny counts at this time, and during coronavirus, like trying to use the coronavirus shit to basically sell some shit. Like, can you beat $78?
right.
Well, you might not have all your thing. I have full coverage. Well, how do you know this? Because I'm looking right at it right now as we speak. Well, I don't think we can beat that. So you have a good day now. Yes, you have a good day now. Bye bye. That bullshit.
Ooh, shit.
Yeah, but
Well, I was just talking about like how first person shooters haven't really changed at all,
well, I really haven't.
and like, should they change or should they just die out?
How the hell we get all the way over to first person shooters from Corvette Corvette's disease and what's it called? What's the other one?
Well, I mean that's kind of the next step. I think the next step to take would be like, all right,
And serving his strength. Did we even talk about serving his strength?
yeah, we did. Well,
Okay.
you could add in the aspect of like the military and how
Yeah,
that's
true.
how they sort of they give you like because like the Barbarossa video that KD5 has been pushing kind of has like an analogy that it brings into it. It's like, yeah, you can say you have freedom, but if you sign that sheet, then they can pretty much use you. Like you don't have freedom, even though technically you can say you have freedom, you still don't have it.
No, you don't. You really don't.
And
Especially if you sign
and
up for the
so
military, because now you're property of the U.S. government or property of any government you sign up for.
exactly. So it's kind of like now that you know not to sign that release form for anything if you value strength. Which I mean, that's not. I don't mean to slap anybody in the military in the face. Like it's more or less just honing in on the concept of getting
Your
away from that.
weaknesses. They
And it's
basically
like
play on your weaknesses.
exactly they're like if you serve us, then that's a sign. No matter what happens in the future, whether you die or you're unemployed or you're homeless or you're PTSD, what you are now is strong, and that's all that matters. Um, what do you do after that? What do you do after recognizing that? Like, once you realize that serving is not strength, it's like, do you just do what makes you happy? You know, you just game. Like what a lot of people do. Everybody, everybody that I know games. If they don't game, they at least watch sports, and then sometimes they'll play,
You don't
MLB.
game, you a lame.
And so, I mean, dude,
Chico
that's
said it first.
or you could say like, if you ain't lame, you tame. Oh, not as good.
I was
But
about to say, you
yeah,
get slapped.
um, but yeah, like instead of being like a henpecked person who justifies their existence based on their ownership, or they're bringing into the world something that they physically cannot do. What else? What is there to occupy one's time with other than
Hobby,
your own
yourself,
pursuit? And that's the thing.
books,
Hobbies
learning.
is such a, yeah, like working out and reading. That's great, and studying things. And so none of that doesn't, unless you can turn studying into into some income, which you could do through teaching, is one way you could do that.
You ain't saying anything about having an income. You said just do yourself.
Yeah, I mean, yourself in, the blue pill world, people are gonna be like, well, where's his money? If he
Not your
doesn't
damn
have money.
business.
Yeah, I know. Oh, also, did you see that New York Post video? It was like an Asian dude, and he was like, "This is no no nigger territory," or whatever. It was in Scottsdale, Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "This is a no nigger zone," or something like that. I was like, "What did this Asian dude just say?" And granted, the guy, I sent you the video clip. The guy
Mm-hmm.
he's a famous YouTuber, and he was dressed like like he's kind of gangster. He's kind of dressed
Mm-hmm.
like, not gangster, like
Kind of
like
gangster.
fedora and tie gangster, like you're like white t-shirt, like saggy pants gangster with the
Yeah,
drawstring bag.
I know what you
So I
meant.
was like, what do you make of that? So like, you're talking about authenticity, and maybe he is right. Maybe it was, and like, is it people's right to just go wherever they want and not face any of that backlash? Like, considering what
Well,
we
no,
know.
because at the end of the day, when it comes down to is you have the right to go anywhere you want, but you also have the right to be berated and discriminated against if you look a certain way, act a certain way, or dress a certain way. That'd be like me. That'd be like me walking downtown with the fucking ski mask on with a handgun. I'm probably going to rob a place. Like that doesn't change the fact that I look like I'm going to rob a place. So it's one of those things you got to watch how you look and walk and talk basically and act because you will be perceived that way. That goes for women, that goes for men, that goes for everybody across the board. If you look a certain way, you act a certain way, you're going to be treated a certain way. Nobody gets a pass on this stuff.
No, obviously. I mean, like, that's why I hate when people are just like, well, he's just so racist. It's like, stop apologizing for some dumbass who wants to go into a rich neighborhood dressed like a thug.
Yeah.
Like, why do
And the
we
sad
do
part,
that? Why do we
the
do
sad
that?
part, like
Yeah.
I look at it like this. I'm trying to be authentic. No, you ain't, because that's not how you normally dress, your retard. First off, secondly, I look at it like this: because I've always said this, if you're dressed a certain way, if you're a woman and you're dressed like a hoe, don't ask me for directions because you'll be lost. You better ask somebody else for directions because I'm not going to help you. Because how that's perceived as you walking up to me is, so a cop could perceive that as me purchasing services from you. So I'm gonna need you to keep your ass away from me for that purpose. So if you look like a hoe, you're dressed like a hoe, I'm gonna need you to keep your hoe ass away from me, hoe looking ass away from me, because I don't want to be received by the police as buying a prostitute or a hooker or a stripper or anybody for all intents and purposes. So it's one of those things where it's like I'm not willing to play that game. So don't come up to me with some bullshit.
I get it. Like, unless you're investigating a crime, you shouldn't just go up to any random person that you think looks suspicious and like tell them
I'm talking about if you're dressed a certain way. Don't ask me for directions because I don't want to be implicated in some shit
No,
that
right.
you got
I
yourself
think,
in. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about like
way.
just no, because the sad part about that is people dress a certain way and look a certain way and act a certain way and expect to be not treated a certain way. If you're dressed a certain way, you act a certain way, you look a certain way, you're going to be treated that way. Like I say, if you act like an animal, you'll get treated like an animal. If you act like a human being, you'll get treated like a fucking human being. That's simply how that works. There ain't no complications about it. It's straightforward. If you act like a fucking thug, you get treated like a fucking thug. If you act like a hoe, you'll get treated like a hoe. It's that simple.
Well,
so
Halloween,
like I said, going forward is what I said was, if you look that certain way, don't walk up on me asking me any questions because I'll ignore the fuck out of you because I don't want to be implicated in any shit that you got going on with yourself. So I'm gonna need you to get that ass whooping by yourself from the police or anybody else. Capiche?
No, yeah, what you're talking about is like associating with people, but
yeah, a perception basically. Because the sad part about that, if a woman's dressed like, if a woman's dressed half naked, somebody's going to perceive her as a prostitute or a hooker. I don't need people thinking that I purchase prostitutes or hookers. So stay the fuck away from me for that reason. The same thing goes for a dude that's dressed like a thug who's trying to act like a thug. Don't ask me for shit, or I'll punch you dead in your fucking face because I don't want to be received as somebody like you. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to like obfuscate it. I'm just merely saying that, like, if you want to choose who you associate with, that's fine, but you can't like just pick and choose who you want to agitate, because that's, you kind of have to apply the same rules. Like, if you agitate somebody and they end up killing you, that's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's not their fault because, like
that's
you
their
said,
perception of you.
yeah, exactly.
Because the sad part about that, this is what women and black people fail to realize. Everything is about perception. If you don't understand that, then you deserve everything that comes your way. If you don't understand perception, you deserve everything that comes your fucking way. It's that simple. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit for you. I'm not going to pretend like, everything's fucking unicorns and rainbows. If you act a certain way and you look a certain way, a person's perception of you is going to be as such. There's no way around it. There's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no way to unjustify you looking like a dumbass or acting like a dumbass. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to unpack there, because you have what people will inevitably perceive you as, and then you have people who think they can manipulate other people's perception of them.
Yeah, no, you can't. A person's perception is a person's perception.
You can manipulate a child.
You're manipulating somebody's perception is not going to change the fact that a white lady is going to walk across the street and clutch her purse when she sees me walking down the street. It's the nature of the beast. I know this, therefore I know it's going to happen. You can't change that. That's still going to be on people's minds based on how society portrays everything. You can't change society. You can't force society to believe something else totally different when in fact society's still pushing this narrative out there. A good example of that, like I said, you can't sit up here and say, Black Lives Matter if you're shooting your own fucking people at higher than a rate than a cop shoots you. Sad part about that is what a lot of people miss this 4 years is less niggas died under the Trump administration in 4 years than under the Obama administration in 2 years. Like, let that shit sink in. So it's one of those things where it's like you can't sit up here and act a certain way and expect shit not to happen to you. You can't be up here like, well, Black Lives Matter, but when when Pookie and Ray Ray shooting the fuck out of everybody or shooting a whole entire family execution style in the backyard, none of y'all bat a fucking eye. The minute that one cop shoot one black person, all of a sudden it's a travesty. But we can let Pookie and Ray Ray shoot up the whole fucking neighborhood and take out your mama, your aunt, your grandmother, the bus driver, and you, and we're perfectly fine with that without batting a fucking eye. Come on now, don't play with me with that bullshit. Get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit. I'm gonna need y'all to miss me with that bullshit. Because at the end of the day, for Black Lives to matter, your whole entire neighborhood has to matter. So that means whatever Pookie's doing, y'all better put his ass on blast or make sure somebody shoots his ass. Either way, it is what it is. You can't be sit up here talking about things matter when in fact you can give two shits about other people's lives only when a cop does it. Come on now. Fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Rules. Yeah. Yeah.
Then you got black women aborting black babies at a high ass rate anyway. So that's a whole nother story that we're not going to talk about because there's more abortions on black people than there is black people actually dying on the streets. And the sad part about that is black people shoot more black people for no fucking reason in one day than a cop shoots a black person in about a month or 2 months.
It's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, like you said, like in the thing that I really want to highlight in what you're saying is, like you said, you act like an animal. You want to get treated. You're going to get treated like an animal. Like, and you said human beings are animals.
Yeah.
So it's like we respond in a very like animalistic nature towards
but the sad
symbols.
part about that is though we live in a society.
Yeah.
There's rules and certain things that govern behaviors. So if you act like a fucking animal in society, you go to jail or get shot or put down like an animal in society. A good example of that is you can't be out here acting stupid, acting like a rabid fucking dog and expect people not to shoot at you or treat you like shit. Yeah, I said it. Sometimes niggas act like rabid dogs and they need to be put down. You damn right.
See, yeah, that's a functionable worldview. It works. It doesn't hurt anybody. It merely observes something that's naturally reoccurring, which is the propensity for dumb people to get themselves into stupid
shit. The sad part about that, the niggas that get themselves into this stupid shit are the same niggas that's raised by single mothers. True. Like, explain this to me. How did she do a fucking good job when that idiot's out there acting stupid or getting shot at? Oh, you're such a good job, lady. Such a fucking good job. Either he's getting shot at, or he's acting a straight fucking fool, or he's in prison, or he's dead. Like, pick your poison.
Yeah. I mean, the worst offense to me is how people escape prison, they escape death, they escape any sort of punishment because of the single mother. Just because no one is there to actually punish the person.
Yeah, because the sad part about that, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, you got all these motherfuckers doing dumb shit on a regular basis. It is what it is. And it's one of those things where it's like, you can't sit up here and praise people for raising fucked up people. Like, you don't do that. Like, I know, I said,
like I wouldn't
like a good example. I know one goofy ass. I know one goofy ass nigga that literally got shot in front of me. Luckily, the white guy had good aim because my black ass would have been shot with his dumb ass, stupid ass nigga. But I remember this. I told a story about this one black kid decided that he wanted to stick his hands in a car next to this little girl's face and go bluck, 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 like he really had a gun. White guy turned around and shot him several times. People want to act outraged. You shouldn't have stuck your fucking hands in a fucking car with a dude.
Live stream. There was, we live in a society. There was, your actions have consequences. And I just want to add one for good measure. the internet and real life are two different things. Okay.
True story. Or what you see on TV in real life are two totally different things. Clips don't last forever. You know, you do have to reload. If you don't have the clip to reload, your ass will run out of clip. Your ass will run out of bullets. It is what it is.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good.
because gunfights in movies go a little too fucking long for how many bullets should be in a fucking gun. That's annoying as fuck.
Yeah, I think here good movie tip. You should build your dialogue for gunfights and not the other way around. Shouldn't build your gunfights based on, oh, we need the exposition dump here. So it's like, yeah, we have to get over there because your brother said that he was going to meet you there after this gunfight.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's just
shouldn't we be
ridiculous.
out of bullets by now?
Man, shouldn't you be out of ammo? Shit.
It's like you haven't reloaded, John. It's like, why do you have to break the fourth wall like that?
Well, the sad part about that is, like, at least in John Wick, you actually see him run out of bullets and he's actually reloading. Whereas you watch some shit like fucking what's it called? What the fuck is the name of that? Lethal Weapon. Motherfuckers shooting guns for days and shit like that. Motherfucker got a revolver shooting guns like it's a magazine and shit. Shooting a revolver like it's a magazine and shit. Like, come on now, dude, out of here with this bullshit. Got a 6-shooter, you shoot it like you got a whole entire magazine and shit.
It's like that's not what that gun made. That's not the sound.
That's not how that gun works. It's a fucking 6-shooter. Let it go. It's not a fucking. It's not a bottom loader, or it's not a fucking
Like,
invisible loader.
you
Like,
didn't know about my 38 special. It's like, wait, what's going on? That's not the sound.
that's not how this works. Like, that's not how this works at all.
It's like flamethrower revolver. No.
Yeah, I know.
No, this is why I am the hidden man. Yeah, I mean, he's Hidden has said that people who show their face are crazy. I don't think Traversable is crazy. I think he's very based and very grounded. But I mean,
I show my face, fucker.
well, you are crazy.
True. I'll give you that. True.
Crazy, dude. I'm crazy, but I do it just so that no one can blame me of doing anything else. Because I'm a young guy, and it's like if there's some sexy time or something happened in a room somewhere, and somebody's coming knocking, be like, "What's going on?" I'll be like, I would advise against that. Like, unless you want to get in
Sexy
here
time
too,
in a room. What's going on? I'm banging your mama.
I'm banging your mama. It's like you won't even get an explanation. You just the door will open. You just get drug in. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl. It's like you're just getting drug in.
Simple as hell for that.
Like, shut up. The more you talk, less this is not happening. Just stop.
For real.
I mean, it's like you said, association, freedom, agitation. No, like you're asking for trouble.
True story.
So
if you're going to agitate something, for every action, there's a reaction.
And it's like that's what we have in henpeck society. Is like people are so used to people reacting a certain way when they get agitated that when they're like, oh, this is how everybody responds to a stimuli. So then they try to agitate somebody, and then they get shocked when that person just drops a bomb on them, or brings out a flamethrower, and it's like, I thought everybody just had a silence PP99.
Right?
And it's like, no, dude. People actually have machetes and chainsaws and flamethrowers and stuff, and you don't like. I heard somebody say it. They're like, the worst thing to do is assume that someone doesn't have a gun when you're.
Yeah.
You always assume that they do have some sort of. I think that was you and Garuda that were
Yeah,
talking about that.
you always assume that they have a gun on them.
It's like, come on, guys. Like, and it's wishful thinking for one, but again, it's like it's not it's not like you can be hopeful, or I guess you can be wishful, or I guess whimsical. You could just see like, wouldn't it be funny if this person just got super triggered by something I said? But you can't bet on that. You're gonna have to bet that they're gonna have something even worse planned.
Greater than you, equal or greater than you, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You always got to plan for the worst when it comes in this day and age, because like they say, there's 10 guns per one person for every person in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to actually look at it like everybody else. Everybody has a gun, especially if they live in a hood. You know they got a gun because their asses can't fight.
Yeah,
they're raised by a single mother. They probably definitely can't fight either.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that means, and then like you also have, like, I sent you that, I texted that case of Michael Dreyka. You also have Michael Dunn, and like shooters. I don't know if they were both from the South. I think one of them might be from like the Midwest, but people who actively approached. I think both of them. Wow, were at a gas station. Somebody was playing loud music. And they both approached. Oh no! Handicap spot. One of them was a black couple had parked in a handicap spot. And that was Michael Dunn. They had come home from a wedding, and he walked up to them. Oh, completely! I'm fucking this all up. So Michael Dunn pulled up to the gas station to get wine, which gas station wine, that's the first red flag, right? But
well, no, not really, because most gas stations actually sell like alcohol in them and liquor and stuff like that, depending on where you live.
I know
you can actually find a whole entire liquor section in gas stations now.
Oh, really? Like a spirits, like you'd actually find some good wine. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's places that actually. It depends on what state you're in too, though.
It makes sense. Like a lot of things too. When a person is concealed carry too, you got to say like, people act as if they're the only person that has access to a gun that's literally on their hip, that isn't in a lockbox. So it's like you should.
Here's the thing about guns: if you don't get it out already, when somebody starts swinging, you're probably going to die any fucking way. End of story. End of fucking story. If it's not out and ready to go, by the time somebody starts swinging, you're probably already done. So you got to hope and pray that you don't get knocked the fuck out when you hit the floor.
True. Yeah, you definitely have to be. And like the concealed carry, it's like, okay, why'd you bring a gun to the wedding? Anybody want to answer that? I get.
Cool. You want to stun at
Exactly.
somebody else.
I get. It's like if you have grievances with the bridegroom or whatever. Why would you bring a gun concealed to a wedding and you're not a mafia or something? It's like, and you don't have anybody guarding you, and you're in the South, where, like you said, guns outnumber people 10-1.
Well, that's all over the United States. What do you mean, just in the South?
I know.
That's
Well, no, I mean, like even like it's like people who have concealed carry. They study these YouTube channels where it's like situational awareness now, but then yet they bring the guns to the most unconventional, awkward places where they pretty much make you a danger to yourself and other people. Where alcohol is involved.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a really sobering thing to see, to like witness certain stories like this. And then you know, he's like, I can't focus ever with that goddamn music. You know, when he pulls up, there's just some kids in a car playing rap music really loud, which is like what you were saying. It's like you blast music, you know, you're pretty much asking for trouble. So it's like people are gonna assign, oh, white guy bad or black guy bad. That's pretty much how people are gonna look at it. But then he goes out and he's like,
goes for anybody.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, can you turn that music down? And then I guess they turn it down, and then he says, you know, thank you, blah, 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 blah. Then some commotion goes on in the car. Apparently he thinks one of them is talking to him. So then he rolls down the window. He's like, you're talking to me. And before really anyone can articulate or can pretty much like work out what's happening, he has his gun drawn and he fires like he fires several shots into the doors of the clothes, or from, you know, he fires from outside of their car at their car, and then they start driving away. And only until after they drive away do they realize like he's shot and killed a kid that was in the backseat.
Yeah. It is what it is. It's society today. So not very much you could do about it, but we want to preach Black Lives Matter, but we got retarded animals out here shooting anything and everything under the sun, but we want to care when a cop does it.
But yeah, like why preach because you're right. I mean, that's why I think SYSBM exists, is because a lot of the
we're tired of the dumb shit. That's why we're tired of the dumb fucking shit. We're tired of dumbass females. We're tired of dumbass female niggas, and we're tired of dumbass niggas, basically doing dumbass shit. That's why SYSBM exists, because we're tired of this dumb shit that dumb niggas do all the damn time. Let it be female, let it be male. We're tired of this shit. And don't ask us to come back to the fucking community to help the fucking community when the community's fucked the fuck up in the first place. Don't ask us to help it when you help it your damn self, and then maybe we want to help you for you. If you ain't willing to help your fucking self, don't ask for fucking help. Shit, I hate stupid ass niggas.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's frustrating because there's nothing that is life affirming about living in a society like this, because death is literally like around every corner, it would seem. Yeah. Especially for a person who isn't, you know, well oriented.
I can't believe the cop shot my son. Your son was going to get shot any fucking way. Luckily, it's the cops and not some rival gang member, because your whole entire house be shot the fuck up with your dumbass son. Stupid bitch.
True. Yeah, and then with the other one, Michael Dryka, like a black woman was parked in the handicap space, and he just walks right up to her and is talking to her while her window's down. So obviously you tell this guy's like socially awkward or whatever, because who just approaches a car with the windows down and starts talking and starts like yelling at them? Like only people who are like Karens, like male Karens, basically. And then so he starts saying, you know, all his little spiel about how she can't park there, and it starts getting heated because he doesn't know when to just quit and give up and just be like, you know what, they're parked in the handicap.
It's actually bitch thing. It's bitch thing altogether. It's all bitch thing.
Like, how dare you?
If you don't know how to de-escalate shit, you suffer from bitch thing. As a man.
Exactly. And the sad thing about bitches is they never take responsibility for their own actions. It's always somebody else's fault. And that's why
somebody else's fault. It's the other person's fault. It's the other person's fault that you had to be controlled, basically. Yeah, I get it. You're a dumbass. You should learn to control yourself or soothe yourself. Shouldn't be running out here acting like a fucking wild animal, and you wouldn't be shot like a wild animal. Or you wouldn't be arrested like a wild animal. Or you wouldn't be treated like a wild animal.
Yes.
How about we put some fathers back in the home, and you don't have to worry about this shit altogether?
Well, yeah,
greatly. It wouldn't be all together, but even less than quite greatly.
What's crazy to me is like, it's like dad number 2 is like, I'm the alpha one, but it just doesn't make sense, because like there's no alphas. Everybody has to pay, so there's no winning. It's all just losing. This is why, like, you know, that's the reason it's SYSBM. It's because there is no winning in this game. Like who win? Who
Well,
really
it's not the
wins?
fact. It's not even about winning. It's just about the. It's about this preconceived notion that you're doing good with your life when you're doing really bad with your life. That's all it really is. There's nothing
Yeah.
special about it, and that's all it really. That's all it would ever be. So there's no point even remotely going over this bullcrap for no reason whatsoever because it's totally pointless. They're not going to change. They're going to stay the same. This is going to be the same damn thing next year, following year, year after that, 10 years from now. Niggas are still going to be niggas acting stupid like niggas, basically. There's no point even having this conversation about goofy ass niggas when they don't want to change their own fucking life.
True story. Well, it's like what I was saying. It's like when you're in that position, there's literally so much wrong that you don't even know where to start when it comes to
Yeah, there is.
changing. Yeah, basically speaking.
The question is, do you want to change?
And
And if the answer is no, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Continue down a destructive path, and I'll watch you get your ass shot.
Well, it's like I feel like there's sort of like people probably afraid of asking for help because of the.
Well, it's not even afraid for asking for help. It's just stupidity. It's straight stupidity. It's not scared of asking for help. It's just straight stupidity. That's all it is. It's just straight stupidity. It's all stupidity at the end of the day. There's no other way around it. There's no other way to sugarcoat it. You might as well stop trying to rewrap it in a pretty bow. It's all stupidity. It's all stupidity. Just plain dumb shit on a regular basis. Just doing stupid dumb shit quite regularly. That's all it is. Nothing special. No other thing about it, but besides the fact that they're acting stupid.
True. Yeah. I mean, how do you differentiate what you do as being smart or being stupid?
If you can't learn from a mistake, or if you don't understand that something is wrong, then you're not a human being. You're an animal. I don't give a damn.
You're not a human being. Wow.
You're no different than the gorilla that got shot in the fucking zoo after the kid fell over, or the lion that got shot because the one lady decided she wanted to be crazy and run in the fucking thing. You're no different, basically, than an animal in a zoo, or an animal in a habitat, or an animal in a wild, basically. At the end of the day, if you can't discern right from wrong, you're no different than an animal itself.
Well, that I think that right there sums it up, because it's like, how is a gorilla in captivity gonna know what's right to do in captivity when it behaves as if it's not even in captivity? Like, it's gonna kill something. It's not a crime if it's not.
That part about that gorilla didn't even kill anything, but because of his sheer strength and his brute strength, they had to shoot it because they deemed it necessary to shoot, despite the fact that his parents probably did worse. The parents probably did worse to the child than the gorilla ever did itself.
Mm-hmm. The parents of the child?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Negligence. Hello.
Letting the kid in. Yeah. Dang, man.
It's like the dumb bitch that let her child fall over, that placed her child on a gate, and he fell into the painted dogs at the Pittsburgh Zoo. He fell into the painted dogs exhibit. This bitch was screaming for her child's life. Now, if that was my black ass, I'd have jumped over the fence after my fucking child. First off, my child wouldn't be on the fence any damn way, because it says don't sit on the fence. Secondly, if my child did happen to fall over, I'd be over that gate faster than my child be over that damn gate, trying to stop my child from getting ravaged by something else. Unfortunately, this one guy decided he wanted to play Captain Save-A-Hose Kid, and he ended up eating and dead, and her child is eaten and dead, basically. Now the woman's trying to sue the zoo for some stupid shit that she did. Sad part about that is, despite the fact that the sign says don't sit on the fucking gate, this bitch actually might win.
Yeah.
Which makes no fucking sense to me. Bitch should go to jail for negligence and wrongful death.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like if you're on the flip side of that, like how would you defend against stupidity? Like if you're just, trying to survive in the everyday life,
You can't defend against stupidity. All you can do is move away from it or avoid it. That's all you can do. There's no defense against it, because stupidity is always going to be stupid. Stupid people is going to be everywhere. Stupid people is going to do stupid shit all the fucking time, anywhere in life, anywhere you go in life. All your best bet is just to move away from it and avoid it. That's it. And the sad part about that, even if you move away from it and avoid it, every now and again, a stupid ass nigga will find his way back into your fucking neighborhood and do the same stupid shit in your own neighborhood. So it's not like it really matters. So the best way to actually deal with it is, deal with their fucking homes. Not throw money at them. Deal with their fucking homes. What's the fucking problem? Oh, there's no dad? How about we not pay welfare and we have a dad in the home and we actually raise these fucking children like we got some fucking sense? Here's a novel idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then you're really when you're giving advice, you're now giving like blanket. You can't really just specifically put a dad back in the home because that's just not how it works. You can't just like do that.
Well, the sad part about that, you can. The sad part about that, you can. But the sad part about that, we ain't got time for me to explain that. That could be a whole nother Baron and Sadist.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of tiring you out with all like the little platitudinal questions and stuff.
No, it's fine. It's just the fact that we just don't have time to go that long to actually explain how the fuck you can actually straighten that out by just putting the dad back in a home. Because it's multifaceted and multi-layered to actually do so. But if you put a dad in the home, all this shit would just fuck appear. If people stop opening their legs to everybody and they could stop banging any fucking body, we wouldn't have half these fucking problems. It's that simple.
That's true. Yeah, and then I guess the only flaw if you're like a MGTOW monk is like you got to be able to detach from all this drama. Like you just have to be able to ignore it, or else it's going to consume you. That's like the main thing.
Yeah, you got to ignore all the stuff. And the sad part about that is anybody going to do it? No, they're not, because they act like children too. So that's pretty much a moot point when it comes to that. There's this thing called a learning curve
that's true. Yeah,
everybody's not going to really catch on too fast. So everybody's not as swift as other people. So therefore, they eventually got to learn the hard way. So they got to fall on their ass or fall on their head before they actually learn things.
Yeah, I literally just said stop helping people. And I'm like, how can people help themselves? It's like most people don't want to help themselves.
Shinobi one comes in the end.
Oh, you're on your own, brother. What is up, brother?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're not willing to help yourself, don't expect people to help you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not willing to make the necessary changes in your life, don't expect people to make the necessary changes for you.
True.
It's that simple.
And you should be ready to deal with the consequences too if you're just that stubborn.
True story.
Which, yeah.
But that's it for Baron. That's it for Baron and Sadist. Y'all have a good one. Yam, do your outro.
Yeah. That's it. That's really it. Go watch the content for this week and have a safe and blessed Halloween. And don't be a trick. Just treat yourself like milk. But I'll let Tico finish it.
You are simple. You and Win both are simple. Y'all be good to yourselves and pretty much improve upon yourselves and make yourself the better version of yourselves. Y'all have a good night. See y'all the next Baron and Sadist.
We out.
We out. Be blessed.
Be blessed. And don't be so nice, everyone. Don't be so fucking nice.
Don't be so fucking nice at all. If a person deserves an asshole, they get an asshole. Not everybody deserves nice and platitudes, basically. Not everybody deserves your time and effort and any fucking thing from you if they're not willing to actually put in the work to earn it. Or put in any work to actually change themselves. But y'all be good, have a good night, and be blessed.